Chapter 11:10. 11:10 The family of three chose a hot pot restaurant for their celebration. Hee hee, I got my diploma and Yen Ran also passed her audition, so this can be considered three simultaneous happy events in the family. Cheers! Yi Wanwan joyfully held up her orange juice. Si Yihan glanced at her. Three happy events? Tang Tang also blinked and inquired, Mommy, isn't it two happy events? Yi Wanwan propped her chin up and peered at Si Yihan. Yes, three happy events. I graduated, Yen Ran passed her audition, and your dad's EQ improved. There's nothing wrong with my math. Si Yihan glanced at her. My EQ is really low. Yi Wanwan sighed. In reality, with your looks, if your EQ was high, I should have fallen in love with you at first sight. There wouldn't have been all that turmoil. In reality, she never understood what she was thinking back then. How desperate did she have to be to not want someone like Si Yihan and be so hell-bent on a jackass like Guyueza? She clearly had a thing for faces, so she shouldn't have disliked Si Yihan so much even if he was a bit terrifying back then, right? After all, for someone with a face complex, the most important principle was, you're good-looking, so everything you say is right. If her attitude back then eased up just a little bit, Si Yihan wouldn't have been so violently triggered by her, and there wouldn't have been such a vicious cycle. Then their fate wouldn't have been so tragic. Si Yihan, whose heart was pierced by his wife, when Si Yihan heard Yi Wanwan's words, his expression fluctuated for half a day before he stared at her darkly and said, How do you know you didn't fall in love with me at first sight? Yi Wanwan was startled. Huh? I did. Why don't I remember? She clearly remembered that she was directly brought to Jean Garden by the people sent by Si Yihan. As strangers who met for the first time, Si Yihan told her she would live there from now on and couldn't go anywhere, there was no room for objection. Hence, their first meeting couldn't be considered pleasant. Si Yihan's eyes darkened, but he quickly concealed the change in his eyes. Let's cut the cake. A mousse cake melts faster. Oh, okay. Tang Tang, bring the cake over here. Yi Wanwan merely thought Si Yihan's love at first sight question was an offhanded question, so she didn't think too much of it and happily cut the cake. At the same time, at Emperor Sky Entertainment, Yi, Liang Shihan, and Liang Shihan's assistant were all in the conference room. The assistant carefully said, Sister Yi, I just received a reply from the film crew. Shihan didn't get cast. Also, they said they found a suitable female lead. Yi wasn't surprised Liang Shihan didn't pass the audition since Peng Yuan, whose strictness was well known in the industry. Many big-name actresses also didn't pass the audition. However, there were only new talents in the college auditions, so she couldn't help but feel surprised that they found a suitable female lead that fast. Without waiting for Yi to speak, Liang Shihan hurriedly asked, They already found a suitable candidate. Who was it? Which company's artist got accepted? Could it be Global's? She was the only one from Emperor Sky who went, so whose company's artist was it if it wasn't hers? The assistant answered, I scouted around. I heard that it was a first-year student from Imperial Films who hasn't signed on to a company yet. She signed the contract herself. She was probably lucky. Liang Shihan didn't look too good when she heard that. Also a student from Imperial Films like me? Who? Do I know her? Chapter 11:11, 11:11, let me think. I think her name was Jiang. Her name was Jiang Yenran, the assistant replied. It was actually her. Once Liang Shihan remembered Jiang Yenran's close relationship to Yi Wanwan, her expression became even uglier. Sister Yi, can't you think of something? I really want to act in Director Peng's film. Jiang Yenran succeeded and she's only a student without a company backing her. Isn't it nonsense that I didn't succeed? Liang Shihan begged as she tugged on Yi's sleeve. Yi frowned. Shihan, it's not that I don't want to help you, and if it was a different director, our company could still rely on favors, but Peng Yuan who is a director who casts based off his mood. No one can sway him. The casting for this film has already been decided, so don't think about it anymore. The company will make better arrangements for you. Once Liang Shihan heard that Yi Yi wouldn't help her, she immediately became unhappy up until the last sentence. Only then did she brighten up a little. Really? Thank you so much, Sister Yi. I knew you would treat me the best. Yi Yi laughed. We're family. You don't need to thank me. Liang Shihan appeared satisfied. Sister Yi, you don't need to worry. You're the eldest miss of the Yi family and the only eldest miss. Yi Wanwan and her family can't even show their faces in public, so they can't possibly make something out of nothing. What life and death struggle. Just from the name, you can tell it won't become popular. Let's wait for them to go bankrupt. At a hot pot restaurant. Yi Wanwan ate until she couldn't eat anymore before she finally rested, content. After the bill was paid, Si Yihan didn't directly get the car because Yi Wanwan was still too full, so they went on a stroll with Tang Tang. Are you still not feeling well? Si Yihan had a helpless expression as he watched the girl rubbing her stomach. I don't feel well, Yi Wanwan mourned. Why didn't you two remind me to eat less? Si Yihan, Tang Tang, Mommy, Tang Tang was wrong, the father-son pair shared the same thoughts. She was eating so happily, who could bear to tell her to eat less? Si Yihan glanced at the pharmacy across the street, then said to Yi Wanwan, wait here a bit. I'll go buy you some digestive pills. Oh. Okay, Yi Wanwan obediently nodded, but after she agreed, she seemed worried. But hurry back. It's late at night. It's not too safe. You're so handsome. What if you encounter some female perverts? The corners of Si Yihan's lips curved upwards. His expression was hard to read. No one's more perverted than you. Yi Wanwan instantly retorted back unhappily, hey, how am I perverted? Si Yihan's been slandering me constantly. Really? Mommy, are you okay? Tang Tang can rub your stomach for you. The little fella helped Yi Wanwan rub her stomach with concern. Thank you, baby. Moi, Yi Wanwan was in the middle of circling the fountain when suddenly, a girl headed towards her. The girl was looking down with a lot of stuff in her arms. She appeared absent-minded and wasn't looking where she was going, so she ran straight into Yi Wanwan. The stuff in her hands scattered on the ground. Ah! I'm so sorry. Miss, are you alright? Yi Wanwan watched as the girl bent down in front of her to pick up the stuff on the ground. It's nothing, it's nothing. Sorry. I'm so sorry that I ran into you, the girl kept apologizing. Yi Wanwan helped pick up her stuff and noticed the contents of the papers. She couldn't help but notice that the scattered papers were all the girl's resumes. The girl was working the same job as her. They were both managers. Chapter 11-12 Yi Wanwan swept her gaze over the contents of the resume. Yao Jiawen, 24 years old. Her previous employer was Wisdom Media, and she had been in charge of 2 third-rate celebrities. The girl appeared young but had already been in the industry for 6 years. She worked as a part-time intern when she was still in university, then worked her way up slowly from being an assistant until she finally became a manager. She seemed very reliable. Moreover, she was able to nurture 2 third-rate celebrities with resources that she had to compete for in Wisdom, which was considered a highly competitive company. This meant she was also capable. From her resume, it was clear her family circumstances weren't very good, but she was willing to work hard. To be able to get to where she was in 6 years meant she worked several times harder than the average person. Yi Wanwan's company had just taken its first steps and she needed hard-working employees like this. Yi Wanwan handed over the resume to Yao Jiawen, then decided to test the waters when she said, Miss Yao, I apologize but I saw your resume just now. Dare I ask, are you still looking for a job? Yao Jiawen nodded. Yes, I saw that you previously worked at Wisdom Media. Wisdom isn't a bad company in this industry, so why did you quit? Yi Wanwan asked. Yao Jiawen bitterly smiled. It's just the usual company competitiveness. I was ousted. Our company only looks at results, and if we don't meet quotas, we have to leave. Miss, I can tell you seem to understand how this industry works and that it's very intense. If someone doesn't have any money or connections, it's almost impossible to make a living. I worked at Wisdom for 6 years, but in the end, I was still abandoned. Yao Jiawen's face was filled with fatigue and loneliness. Yi Wanwan understood Yao Jiawen's circumstances. This industry was simply that cruel. No matter how hard you worked, if you had no money or connections, you still wouldn't stand out even after 10 or 20 years. There were too many people who had to give up and change careers. I was wondering if Miss Yao knows about Age of the Immortals. Yi Wanwan asked. Yao Jiawen thought about it before answering. I've heard of that name. It's a new startup company. Yi Wanwan nodded in reply. Yes, if Miss Yao is interested, you can give them a try. They've been hiring managers lately. When she talked to Yi Mufan about hiring staff before, Yi Mufan had already sent out the posting and had recently begun hiring. Yao Jiawen speechlessly peered at her. You are? Yi Wanwan replied, my friend works at that company as the director of the talent recruitment department. I heard they're hiring now and I noticed your resume seems to match the requirements, so I mentioned it. This is his card. If you're interested, you can directly contact him. After Yi Wanwan finished speaking, she handed Yi Bai's business card over to Yao Jiawen. So it's like this. Yao Jiawen accepted the card from Yi Wanwan and emotionally said, Miss, I'm really grateful. Thank you. I'll definitely try for the job. Yi Wanwan, you're welcome. Yao Jiawen thanked her several more times before leaving. Soon after, Si Yihan had finished buying digestive pills and returned. He glanced at the girl who was leaving. Who were you just talking to? I coincidentally met a girl and saw her resume on the ground. When I helped her pick it up, I realized she was working in the same industry. She didn't seem bad, so I tried to hire her. Ah, look at me, I'm dressed like this and I still can't forget my job. Isn't this what you call being strong-willed in a disabled body? Yi Wanwan sighed. Tang Tang was speechless. Did Mommy use the wrong idiom again? That's not right. Mommy is never wrong. Even when Mommy is wrong, she's still right. Si Yihan silently looked at the girl before him, then handed her a bottle of water and the pills. Take your medicine. After he finished talking, he worriedly added, make sure to drink more water. This girl. No matter what she looks like. She still makes me worry. Chapter 11:13. 11:13. The next day, Yi Wanwan arrived at the Jiang family home to visit Jiang Yanran's parents. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang were too passionate because they kept encouraging her to eat more. It wasn't until she quickly recounted what happened the previous night that she was let off the hook. Otherwise, if she ate until she was stuffed today, the adult-child duo at home would nag her to death. Ah, Wanwan, luckily you've been by Yanran's side all these years. Otherwise, who knows how Yanran would have ended up. Every time they remembered how they hadn't seen Song Zihang's true colors and how they nearly married their daughter into the Song family, which was equivalent to throwing their daughter into a fire, the Jiang couple shivered from the fear in their hearts. Uncle, Auntie, you're being overly polite. Yanran's my friend, Yi Wanwan replied. It was also thanks to your help with the casting call this time. To be able to work with director Peng in her first film, our Yanran is so lucky to have you as a friend. It's truly a blessing. Mrs. Jiang couldn't help but sigh with emotion. If Yi Wanwan had been a man, she would definitely have married her daughter off to her. Jiang Yanran immediately added, Dad, Mom, Wanwan is really amazing. She was really accurate when she helped me figure out the plot details. At the time, many other capable girls also drew the same scene and I heard the producers saying that their performances were all better than mine. They danced more beautifully, but in the end, director Peng still chose me, really? Why was that? Mrs. Jiang asked with curiosity. Jiang Yanran replied, it was Wanwan who specifically told me that if I were to draw this scene, I needed to hold back when I danced. She said that I should enjoy the dance without showing off. Because in that scene, the main female protagonist had a condition after losing her memory. Although she was a great dancer prior to losing her memory, dancing is a kind of thing that needs endless training in order to maintain the fluidity of movement. For a person who hasn't danced in so many years, if they suddenly had to dance, the body wouldn't be able to recreate the same quality of movement even if they loved dancing. That makes sense. So it was like that. Not many would notice this type of small detail. Mr. Jiang nodded. So I purposely performed with a few flaws so it seemed as though I was dancing as I normally would. Once I finished performing, Director Peng asked me why I performed like that and I told him the truth. Afterwards, Director Peng chose me. Jiang Yanran got excited as she recounted the story. Yi Wanwan smiled. I was only explaining a little about the female protagonist. Yi Wanwan appeared listless as she seemed to have suddenly thought of something when she stopped speaking. She realized that ever since she had been reborn, she felt she suddenly had a lot of potential and talent in martial arts. It was only that her body wouldn't listen to her and would always run out of steam. Isn't feeling the same as what Jiang Yanran's character is feeling. It wasn't that she had talent but never learned martial arts. Instead, she was more like a machine that hadn't been used in years. So when she started exercising and recovering, her movements and fighting abilities kept getting better. Once she realized she had gone too deep into her thoughts, Yi Wanwan immediately came out of her reverie and said, I'm here today because of a specific matter. After Yi Wanwan said that, she took out a contract. Once Jiang Yanran saw it, she instantly accepted the contract happily. Is this our contract? Wanwan, you're finally willing to give me a title. Mom, quickly hand me a pen. Chapter 1114, 1114 Yi Wanwan laughed. No need to hurry, I still haven't finished talking. Jiang Yanran grumbled, you can continue after I've signed it. Yi Wanwan looked at Jiang Yanran then at Mr. and Mrs. Jiang before sternly continuing, Yanran, things aren't as simple as you think. Today, Worldwide Entertainment and Emperor Sky Entertainment are both secretly targeting us, especially Emperor Sky Entertainment. They'll definitely do anything to suppress us this time. You also know about my family situation. This is a hard war which I'm not even sure I can win. So for the sake of insurance, I'm giving you this contract. But you don't need to sign it right now. Wait until the Golden Orchid Awards are over and after the results are out, you can sign it then. This is safer for you because if anything were to happen to Age of the Immortals, you won't get caught up in it. It was because of her company's circumstances that she didn't sign Jiang Yanran. Jiang Yanran went silent and suddenly felt unhappy. Why? In your opinion of me, do you think I can't share your hardships? How could that be? Yi Wanwan gently coaxed her. Part of the reason is for your own good but it's also because of me. If I were to involve you in this, wouldn't my losses be too great? After all, you're my trump card. Once Jiang Yanran heard that, her expression warmed up by several degrees. Mr. and Mrs. Jiang also nodded when they heard that, looking at Yi Wanwan with approval. When the Jiang couple first heard from Yanran that she wanted Wanwan to be her manager, they were a bit worried since Wanwan was only older than Yanran by 1 or 2 years. But now, after experiencing so much, the old couple's opinion of Yi Wanwan had completely changed. Although this child wasn't that much older than Yanran, she was much more mature and thought more about the bigger picture. They could tell she was treating their Yanran wholeheartedly. Yanran, what Wanwan says makes sense. This is the best for the both of you, Mr. Jiang said. Jiang Yanran stared at the contract in her hands and gradually, her grip tightened before she finally replied, all right, I'll wait until after the Golden Orchid Awards before signing. All along, it was Wanwan who kept helping her and even at this point in time, she was still thinking of her. This time, she definitely had to work her hardest in order to help Wanwan. She needed to do well in this film so that when the time came, she could stand on the award stage and proudly tell everyone that her manager was Yi Bai. Yi Wanwan didn't stay long because she needed to deal with the matter of hiring staff in the afternoon. After changing her clothes, Yi Wanwan arrived at the company. Yi Wanwan told Yi Mufan about the matter regarding Jiang Yanran. Yi Mufan was shocked after learning about it. Damn, you were actually hiding a trump card? That being said, this means our company will finally have female artists. Yi Wanwan, don't even think about it. She already has a partner and I was the matchmaker. Yi Mufan's expression darkened. How could you think that? Is your brother that uncontrollable in your eyes? But Wanwan. Does this mean? Since year 3 of high school. You've already been preparing. At that time, his impression of Yi Wanwan was that she was a rebellious teenage girl who dressed repulsively and would live or die for Gu Yueza. Never did he imagine that from that point onwards, his little sister had already begun planning with such patience. Yi Wanwan frowned when she saw Yi Mufan staring at her. What are you staring at me for? Yi Mufan rubbed his chin. Hey, Wanwan, are you still my little sister? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. If I'm not your little sister, whose little sister am I? Yi Mufan abruptly appeared satisfied. Huh, mine. Besides me, who else could have such an awesome little sister? Chapter 11:15 Yi Wanwan swept her eyes over the documents scattered over Yi Mufan's desk. She casually picked up a sheet of paper and asked, did you hire any suitable managers? Yi Mufan sighed. Nope. I interviewed several and none of them were any good. They were too impatient. Not one seemed competent. Yi Wanwan, it wasn't easy for him to be able to call others impatient. Any good ones wouldn't come to a small company like ours, we've only gotten inexperienced and unreliable ones, so it's hard to find anyone, Yi Mufan complained. Now that Yi Wanwan brought on Jiang Yanran on top of the other 3 artists they had, they really needed more manpower to help them out. Yi Wanwan thought about it before asking, oh right, was there a girl surnamed Yao who came to interview today? Surnamed Yao? Nope. Why? Yi Mufan asked. Yi Wanwan replied, last night, I went for hot pot with my son and my boyfriend and I coincidentally met a girl and saw her resume. She was looking for a job as a manager. I saw her resume and she seemed pretty reliable, so I gave her my card and told her to come interview at our company. But she didn't come. Just as Yi Mufan said, anyone who had any slight ounce of ambition would choose bigger companies. There was no way they would come to their startup. There were too many startups in recent years that weren't reliable. They typically ran for about 1 or 2 years, then they would close down and run away from debt. There were even some which closed down after half a month or even after 10 days or so. This was why even though the competition to get into a big company had become even more intense than before, people were still more inclined to apply for positions with them instead. But at this moment, Yi Mufan was completely focused on the part where Yi Wanwan said, last night, I went for hot pot with my son and my boyfriend. Boyfriend, you only think of your boyfriend. You've never even gone out for hot pot with me, your brother. Yi Mufan complained. Yi Wanwan frowned. What do you mean never? Didn't I have hot pot with you last week? Yi Mufan, that was at home with mom and dad. We've never gone out by ourselves. Yi Wanwan, I wasn't alone with my boyfriend. My son was there too. Yi Mufan, his heart felt so heavy that he didn't want to argue anymore. He was seriously suspecting whether this girl was lying to him or not. That kid couldn't really be her illegitimate child with that wild man, right? Yi Mufan was about to ask when the phone on his desk began to ring. It was the front desk receptionist. Director Yi, there's a miss surnamed Yao here looking for you. She says she's here for an interview. Yi Mufan looked stunned and he glanced at Yi Wanwan. There's a girl surnamed Yao here. Is she the one you were talking about? Yi Wanwan's eyes glittered. It should be, let her in. Okay. Yi Mufan turned back to the phone. Let her in. After a moment, a girl knocked on the door and came in. It was Yao Jiawen, the girl Yi Wanwan met the night before. The girl appeared plain and looked like she would blend in with a crowd. Her hair was neatly combed and she was wearing a Chanel suit which was out of season and appeared to be rather old. It was clear she knew how heavily people in this industry focused on their style of dress, but because of her financial circumstances, she couldn't afford to buy newer clothes and could only wear an appropriate brand name outfit. Not only did she look decent but her expression was very natural and poised, giving off a comfortable aura. Nice to meet you, my name is Yao Jiawen. I previously worked at Wisdom Media and Yao Jiawen did a simple self-introduction. Yi Mufan looked through the girl's resume and appeared very satisfied. He glanced at Yi Wanwan, who was seated on the sofa. Amazing, you can even find treasures while eating hot pot. Chapter 11:16. 11:16 Their company couldn't support gods but inexperienced staff wouldn't cut it. People like this were perfect. From the girl's resume, they could tell she was a hard-working individual. Yi Wanwan sent Yi Mufan a look then coughed lightly before saying to Yao Jiawen, nice to meet you. Miss Yao, was it? My friend mentioned you to me before. Yao Jiawen hurriedly replied, you must be Chairman Yi. Last night, I accidentally bumped into your friend then she gave me your card. But I didn't dare give you a call out of the blue so I directly came to your company to interview. Yi Wanwan nodded, indicating that she understood. You two can continue. Thus, Yi Mufan asked Yao Jiawen several questions and she was able to smoothly answer all of them. After 10 minutes passed, Yi Mufan nodded his head in approval then glanced at Yi Wanwan. Boss, what do you think? Not bad. Pretty good. If there are no other issues, you can come to work tomorrow, Yi Wanwan replied. Yao Jiawen was speechless with surprise but then showed a conflicted expression. What is it, is there a problem? Yi Mufan asked. Yao Jiawen appeared depressed with several degrees of embarrassment. She hesitantly asked Yi Mufan, Can I receive 3 months' pay in advance? She hadn't even started work yet she wanted 3 months advance pay. No matter which company it was, they would never agree. From the looks of Yao Jiawen, she had evidently worked in this industry for many years, so she should understand this unspoken rule. It was likely she had no other choice, which forced her to make such a request. Yi Mufan said tentatively, regarding advanced pay, if you worked here for a while, I might still consider your request. But you haven't even started working yet, and you want advanced pay. Do you have any reason for asking this? Yao Jiawen's expression became even more embarrassed. I'm really sorry. I know this request is unreasonable, but because the competition at Wisdom was too fierce. I put a lot of my own money into my work to help new trainees. I haven't been able to save up in recent years. I also just quit my job and my dad suddenly got sick. I really sympathize with you, but this isn't in line with company procedures. If this was before, Yi Mufan would have directly given her money after seeing how pitiful she looked. But now, he first needed to think of the company, which showed his dramatic growth. Yi Mufan thought for a while before turning to look at Yi Wanwan. Boss, what do you think? Yao Jiawen watched as Yi Mufan asked Yi Bai. She appeared rather confused. Isn't the boss of this company Yi Mufan? Why does it look like Yi Mufan's asking Yi Bai for permission? Moreover, Yi Mufan appeared to be afraid of Yi Bai. Yi Wanwan replied, it's fine. Have her report to the finance department to get her pay tomorrow. 3 months' pay in exchange for a suitable employee. It wasn't a bad deal. Yao Jiawen let out a sigh of relief and gratefully said, thank you, Director Yi. Thank you Chairman Yi. Yi Wanwan, no need for thanks. Your capabilities are reason enough for us to fulfill your request. Yao Jiawen went silent. Her heart just got a shock. Yi Bai was saying he agreed not because of sympathy but rather because of her abilities. With that one sentence, he not only acknowledged her skills but also dissolved her embarrassment. Yao Jiawen, thank you. Chapter 11:17. 11:17, what are my job duties? Yao Jiawen asked, now that she felt energized. Yi Wanwan replied, currently, Han Xianyu has his own manager. I'm currently managing for Gong Su, Luo Chen, and another female artist the company is nurturing. For now, you'll work as my assistant and help me deal with my artist's activities. Once the company begins hiring more people, you can choose to manage new trainees independently. She had been worrying about how to manage Gong Su, Luo Chen, and Jiang Yanran but now, she could relax. Yao Jiawen quickly nodded. Yes, I understand. I'll work hard. Before coming to the interview, she researched Age of the Immortals. Naturally, she knew about Luo Chen and Gong Su, who were A-listers being managed by Yi Bai. She worked at Wisdom for so many years but had never gotten the chance to manage any artists above B-listers. She would now be the assistant to the chief director, and it showed how much importance Yi Bai placed on her. Yao Jiawen reported for work on time and Yi Wanwan took her around for a tour of the company. Then she took her to City C to visit and introduce her to Gong Su and Luo Chen. Yao Jiawen got the hang of things very quickly and didn't waste Yi Wanwan's time. She quickly began doing her work. Time flew by. Jiang Yanran smoothly began filming with the production crew, and in the blink of an eye, Gong Su and Luo Chen's time at the special training camp was coming to an end. For the sake of the Golden Orchid Awards and rushing to finish before Chinese Lunar New Year, the film crew was very busy. The awards this year would be especially competitive. Gong Su and Luo Chen had been busy with special training for a long time, making the film crew unhappy, but Yi Wanwan insisted that they needed to finish their training first. Special C forces were in the cafeteria. Yi Wanwan went over to stir things up for the last time while Yao Jiawen was considerate and brought over several types of medicine for any bruises and injuries. Gong Su gulped down a plain bun in 2 bites, and as he ate, he glanced at Yi Wanwan. Everyone's getting really impatient. Brother Yi. The pressure on you must be really heavy. Ah. My heart hurts for you. How about we finish our training sooner? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at them. I don't need your heart to hurt for me, thanks. There's still 1 more week. Push through until training is over. Gong Su suddenly tugged on Yi Wanwan's arm. Woo. Then take pity on me. Look at me. Look at me, before I came, I was like a fresh young flower, but now, I've worked to the point of being a spoilt vegetable. Yi Wanwan frowned in silence as she stared at the youth before her. Gong Su's change hadn't come entirely from his diet, which consisted of whatever he was given. The atmosphere he exuded had changed a lot. In the past, he was a boy, but now, he was actually giving off some manly vibes. Honestly speaking, even Yi Wanwan was surprised by how long Gong Su persisted. Although this guy would act cute and complain about wanting to go back home, in the end, he still persisted. Yi Wanwan asked, who said that? You're even more handsome now. You were flimsy like a wildflower, but now, you're staunch and steadfast like a pine. Once Gong Su heard that, his eyes widened. Really? Really? I'm even more handsome. If Gong Su had a tail, it would likely be wagging like an electric fan around now. Yi Wanwan couldn't help but shoot him a look. Really, if you don't believe me, you can ask Jiawen. Yao Jiawen, who had been standing at the side, said, it's true. You really are more handsome now. Although you were pretty good looking before, you give off a completely different vibe now. I think you're even better now. Chapter 11:18 Gong Su suddenly let go of his complaints and his eyes glittered as he stared at Yi Wanwan, begging for praise. Then quickly tell me more, brother Yi. How am I handsome? In what way? Yi Wanwan pondered over how to word it before replying, If you were a dog before, then now. You're a wolf. Gong Su collapsed. Woo, brother Yi, how could you scold me like this? Yi Wanwan was speechless. I'm praising you. Can't you focus on the main point? Gong Su instantly continued asking, then what about Luo Chen? How about Luo Chen? Yi Wanwan thought about it before replying, Luo Chen. His change wasn't as drastic as yours. Ahaha. I knew it. Gong Su suddenly laughed aloud. Yi Wanwan was speechless again. Is a drastic change something to be happy about? Doesn't a drastic change mean he was a bad person before? The easily appeased Gong Su was once again satisfied by a few words from Yi Wanwan. Once Yi Wanwan finished chatting, she glanced at the time on her phone. I have something in the afternoon, so I'll be leaving first. In these last few days, make sure to work hard. I'll be fairly busy in the next few days, so if you need anything, contact Jiawen. Gong Su gnawed on his chopsticks as he rolled his eyes. Oh, not long after Yi Wanwan left, Gong Su instantly grabbed Luo Chen, who was beside him. Hey blockhead, did you notice it yet? What? Luo Chen impatiently glanced at Gong Su, who was acting strange. Something's not right with Brother Yi. Every time he's come to see us lately, he always leaves urgently like he's rushing to go do something. The majority of the time, it's that little mosquito who's in charge of us. Aside from us two, what else could Brother Yi be busy with? Luo Chen furrowed his brows. What are you saying? Gong Su's gaze darkened. I suspect. Brother Yi got a dog behind our backs, Luo Chen. When it came to matters like this, Gong Su's instincts were oddly accurate. While Gong Su and Luo Chen were training, Yi Wanwan was focusing most of her time on Jiang Yanran. Another week passed. Gong Su and Luo Chen's training had finally come to an end. A life-and-death struggle stationary team began taking shots of scenery for the film. After returning from training, Luo Chen came back with a lot more muscle and everyone could see a change. As for Gong Su, his change wasn't as evident. Under the sunlight, Luo Chen appeared to have gotten darker while Gong Su remained just as pale as he was before. However, he did seem to be more energetic. If they didn't know, they would have thought he went on vacation. As Lu Qing explained the scene, Gong Su acted like a young master, sitting down while taking a selfie as he asked Dong Zai to order lunch and dinner. Afterwards, he secretly used Jiawen's kindness to get her to buy snacks for him. The entire production team, including Lu Qing, was all worried when they saw Gong Su's attitude. Chairman Yi, now that their training's finished, they should be at their peak, so I want to film all the most difficult scenes first. What do you think, Chairman Yi? Director Lu Qing asked. I think that's fine. On this point, Yi Wanwan was thinking the same thing as Lu Qing. Lu Qing flipped through the script then said aloud, today, the first scene will be the most intense. It's the scene where Gong Su will fight the antagonist. Xue Xiaoyang has just entered the compound and is still his playboy self. He doesn't want to learn anything until he reaches a breaking point, causing his attitude to change and making him view his new profession earnestly. Chapter 11-19, this fight scene heavily emphasizes Xue Xiaoyang's drastic change in personality. He has to become extremely vicious, so you need to perform well. Lu Qing said. Yi Wanwan grumpily called Gong Su over when she saw him bullying Jiawen. Gong Su, get over here. Director Lu is explaining the scene to you. Do you understand how you have to act later? This guy had completely reverted back to his former self upon his return. Who knew if he could even get back into his role when it came time to act? Gong Su looked as though this was a trivial matter. I know. Isn't it just fighting? That's what I'm best at. Yi Wanwan, when you fight, you have to look more vicious. Understand? Is it like this? Or like this? Gong Su started wagging his imaginary tail while puffing out his cheeks like a chipmunk and making a vicious expression at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan pressed her hand against her forehead. Don't act cute. This guy, can he really do it? Everything was going as planned except for this brat, Gong Su, who wasn't acting normal. She really couldn't get a handle on him. After the preparations were done, the first scene after the special training began. 3, 2, 1, and, start. Lu Qing shouted. The man who was going to film as the antagonist opposite Gong Su was very tall and well-built. His body was very different from Gong Su's and he appeared to be the domineering and overbearing type. If Gong Su wanted to appear capable of suppressing him, it wouldn't be easy. After Lu Qing shouted for them to begin, the pair ran at each other. Gong Su seemed to change as soon as the clapperboard rang out. He was like a mad dog. No, he was like a wolf as he rushed at the man. The fight scene was phenomenal. From the movements to the emotional control, everything was beyond their expectations. All their old worries didn't materialize. This was a performance that felt as though it was the result of going through a million training sessions. Everyone present was watching in awe. Fuck. Gong-soo is so handsome. Never did I imagine that I would witness this side of Gong-soo. He's so hot-blooded. Yi Mufan, who had already given up hope, now had glittering eyes. This brat isn't bad. I thought he was only stuffing himself with buns at the training camp, but from the looks of it, he's pretty capable. Yi Wanwan also let out a sigh of relief before saying, he's not bad, but if he wants to get an award, it's still not enough. He needs to be even more vicious than that. After finishing, Lu Qing called Gong-soo over. Not bad, Gong-soo. You acted really well just now, but you could be even more vicious. Just a bit more. Think about it, you just saw your teammate die for you and you feel responsible for him. You're in despair and you're taking out your hatred on this scoundrel now. Let's try this again. I clearly performed to perfection already. I was even charmed by my own talent. Gong-soo said, indicating his reluctance. Yi Wanwan, not enough. Try again. Gong-soo, yes, immediately. After a brief break, Gong-soo obediently performed a second take. This time was even better than his first time. However, Lu Qing and Yi Wanwan still felt the scene was lacking a bit. Lu Qing tried to explain the scene to Gong-soo again. This was better than before, but you could still be even more vicious. Gong-soo, imagine this. There's a scoundrel who bullies the poor and hurts others for his own benefit. He's ruined this country and a lot of your brothers in arms have died because of him. You've wasted 2 years and you've finally caught him. How would you feel once you saw him? Embody those emotions and let's try again. Chapter 1120. Thus, Gong-soo tried again. Each time, Gong-soo performed better, but it was never enough to meet Yi Wanwan's expectations. It still felt as though something was missing. She hoped Gong-soo could express an even more atrocious mentality than the scoundrel that bordered on insanity. After a certain number of takes, Gong-soo refused to do it anymore. I'm already vicious enough. How can I get any more vicious? I'm at my max for viciousness. Yi Wanwan went silent for a moment, then called Gong-soo over. Come here. Gong-soo headed towards her. Yi Wanwan thought about it briefly, then said to Gong-soo, now close your eyes and listen to my words. Imagine that you're at the training camp, deep inside the forest. You're only carrying one cracker and you have to survive for a month. You've gotten through to the 29th day after suffering for so long, and on the 30th day, you finally can't persist any longer and you prepare to eat your snack, but at that moment, the cracker was stolen by a scoundrel. Now, what do you want to do? Gong-soo, kill him. Yi Wanwan. Alright. This time, Gong-soo did it perfectly in one take. The actor for the antagonist was a retired soldier. During the previous takes with Gong-soo, he held back to a certain extent, but this time, Gong-soo really pushed him to his limit. Cut. Perfect. Very good. The emotional control was perfect. Lu Qing was extremely pleased. Yi Mufan smiled lightly. Out of curiosity, he murmured to Yi Wanwan, what exactly did you say to that brat, Gong-soo? He nearly went insane. Yi Wanwan, not much. I made him imagine how he would feel if his last cracker got stolen. Yi Mufan widened his eyes. Is there something wrong with his way of thinking? Yi Wanwan, you just realized today. Yi Mufan, the second scene that day was a fight approaching the end. In the ending, Xue Xiaoyang, who was originally a playful, gutless coward who was sometimes cold and selfish, actually died to save a little girl. Shen Yu, who had gone through so much with Xue Xiaoyang, had come to think of him as his brother. In this scene, he would hold Xue Xiaoyang's body in despair. The focus of this scene was Luo Chen. Luo Chen only needed one take to finish. Cut. Pass. Great. Lu Qing cried out and applause erupted. Luo Chen bowed as he retracted the sadness in his expression. Luo Chen was so talented that he could already do this naturally. Yi Wanwan looked at Luo Chen, looking like a mother who had watched her son grow up. Luo Chen's rate of improvement was simply too godly. Gong Su murmured sourly, so fake. I could tell it was acting with just one glance. If I really died, he would likely play with fireworks. Because of the high efficiency rate, several important scenes of the film were completed without a hitch and everyone on the production cast and crew could relax. It was like that idiom that said a beard lathered was half shaved. The time they spent doing the special training wasn't wasted. Days passed as they followed an intensely packed filming schedule. Because the filming process went very smoothly, they finished filming in half the expected time they allotted for filming. The day they finished filming, Yi Wanwan had Jiawen reserve a private room for a banquet for all the cast and crew. Once Gong Su arrived that night, he began complaining. Brother Yi, if this was a regular day, I would let it go, but today is such a special day so you have to drink 1 cup at least. After he said that, he dragged Luo Chen over and asked, Blockhead, don't you agree with me? Luo Chen, don't agree. Gong Su, fuck. Traitor. Didn't we say we were brothers in arms? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at Gong Su. Hold on a bit. I need to go make a call. Hey, wait. Are you going to drink or not? Brother Yi, you still haven't replied to me. Gong Su prompted. Yi Wanwan lifted her phone. I need to ask for permission regarding whether I can drink or not first. Gong Su. Chapter 1121. Gong Su couldn't help but say, it's just a glass of wine. Do you have to be like that? Yi Wanwan, I have to be like this because I'm afraid of my wife. Gong Su was dumbfounded. You're a grown man. How could you be afraid of your own wife? Gong Su directly cried out from the depths of his heart. After saying that, Gong Su felt that what Yi Bai said wasn't entirely correct. Ah, Brother Ye's wife was also a man. Yi Wanwan ignored Gong Su's whining and moved to a quieter area to make the call. The phone call was quickly answered. Yi Wanwan, hey, Ajio. At that moment, Si Yihan was sitting on the sofa, answering the call from Yi Wanwan inside the little house of Rose. Tang Tang, who was sitting beside him, could hear that the call was from his mother. He quickly scurried over and stared intently at Si Yihan. Si Yihan glanced at the little fella, then put the phone on speaker before saying, aren't you at the gathering? When Yi Wanwan heard the sexy, low male voice coming from the receiver, she hurriedly replied, yeah, that's right. That's why, there's something I wanted to ask you about. Tonight, can I, Si Yihan, you can't drink. Yi Wanwan didn't even need to finish talking for Si Yihan to know what she was thinking, as though he was the bug inside her stomach. Just a bit. Isn't it fine if I drink just a little bit? I'm really happy today. Our first movie is done filming. It's such a celebratory day, so how could there be no wine? A banquet to celebrate the end of filming without drinking isn't lively. Even if Gong Su hadn't said anything tonight, Yi Wanwan had already prepared to drink. Si Yihan, who had strict morals, didn't waver under Yi Wanwan's excuses and only retorted back with one word, no. Yi Wanwan didn't give up. Rules are dead, people are alive. Can't you break the rules just this once? Please. Ajio. Darling. Baby. Hubby. Si Yihan. You're sure it's only a little? Once Yi Wanwan heard that, she nodded. I'm sure, really sure. Don't you trust me? I'm so obedient. Si Yihan expressed his doubt. Yi Wanwan, so it's fine. I like you the most. I love you the most. I really won't drink too much. After a moment of silence, Si Yihan finally replied, no one to stop. So he's agreeing. Yi Wanwan instantly became overwhelmed with happiness. I knew you were the best. Tang Tang, who had been listening to his parents' entire conversation, was now staring at Si Yihan with a look of disapproval as if he was telling his daddy that he had no principles. Daddy, you don't keep your word. This isn't right. Drinking is bad for the body, the little fella said sternly. Si Yihan frowned and glanced at the little fella before handing the phone over. You can try. Sure, I'll try. The little fella harumphed as he took the phone. Mommy. Once Yuan heard Tang Tang's voice, she felt as if she couldn't be any happier. Tang Tang. Do you miss Mommy? Yes, Tang Tang misses Mommy, the little fella honestly replied. As the little fella listened to his mommy's voice, his stern face gradually became soft and adorable. How are you so obedient? Baby, sleep first and don't sleep too late. Mommy will quickly finish up and come sleep with you. Don't worry Mommy. Tang Tang will take good care of himself. Baby's so obedient. Mommy likes you the most. Mommy's going to hang up first. Bye-bye Mommy. After finishing his call with his mommy, Tang Tang felt satisfied as he hung up the phone. The adult didn't stick to his principles while the child completely forgot to convince his mommy not to drink. Chapter 1122 Si Yihan gave his son a look. The little fella, who had just complained to his daddy, seemed to finally realize he had forgotten his mission and was pressing his lips together in frustration. But once he thought back to his phone call with his mommy when he could hear her voice, he brightened up. The little fella said seriously, Mommy said she'll only drink a little bit. Mommy knows her limits. The books say that drinking in moderation is fine. Si Yihan had a headache and put down the documents in his hands. She'll naturally be fine. It's other people who aren't going to be fine. After a moment, Su Yi, Feng Xian Yi, 11, and a group of team leaders marched over to give Si Yihan their weekly reports. Once the group of people reported what they had to say, they prepared to leave, but Si Yihan ordered them to stop. Si Yihan, wait a minute. Su Yi, 11, and everyone else stopped in their tracks. Su Yi asked, Ninth Master, do you still have orders for us? All of you are going to accompany me when I pick up Wan later, Si Yihan said. Yes, Ninth Master. Su Yi replied, but he went silent because he noticed Si Yihan just said, all of you. Su Yi, how many need to go? Si Yihan, everyone. Su Yi was shocked. All of us need to go. Si Yihan, yes. Su Yi, the bodyguards all looked at one another. Wasn't it a bit much if all of them went? Despite the doubt in their hearts, they didn't dare question the master's orders. They merely thought he was too doting on Miss Yi. At that moment, Tang Tang's footsteps could be heard as he came downstairs. Daddy, I want to go pick up Mommy too. Although Su Yi told them all beforehand about this child, everyone still sweated when they heard the word, Daddy. In the crowd, Feng Xian Yi was silently staring at the kid and cocked his brows when he heard the child call out for his dad. Si Yihan glanced at the little fella. Did you forget what Mommy said? Tang Tang looked down. Mommy said Tang Tang needs to sleep. But tonight, Mommy is going to drink. Mommy's a girl and coming home after drinking isn't safe. Tang Tang wants to go pick up Mommy. Once the bodyguards heard the little boy's words, nearly all of them looked up with expressions of disbelief on their faces. What? Miss Wan is drinking? It was as though a storm was thundering throughout the living room. Everyone was shocked. Steward Su, what's going on? Why would Miss Wan drink? Didn't Master ban her from drinking? How could she be drinking? 11 urgently asked Su Yi in a low whisper. That's right, Steward Su. How could Miss Yi be drinking? How could Master let Miss Yi drink? Everyone scurried over to Su Yi like a herd of ants. Su Yi was also shocked. How do I know? I only knew Miss Wan was going to a banquet to celebrate the end of filming for her movie. How could I know that Ninth Master would allow her to drink? No wonder. No wonder Ninth Master's taking so many people to pick her up. He must be scared Miss Wanwan will drink too much and go crazy. Who could hold her back? Is bringing all these people just a precaution? Please. Even we can't hold her back, okay? If we go, we'll only be offering our heads. In the end, Tang Tang kept his promise to his mommy and went upstairs to sleep. As for Su Yi, 11, Feng Xianyi and everyone else, they could only follow their master like lost souls as they went to go pick her up. Chapter 1123. 1123 At this moment in time, inside a reserved room inside a certain bar in the imperial city. Cheers. The first glass is for successfully finishing our movie. The second glass is for me, who will soon gloriously sit on the throne for Best Actor. Cheers. Tonight, Gong Su was very vivacious and in a short amount of time, he finished a huge bottle of wine by himself. It wasn't enough for him to drink alone and kept dragging Yi Wanwan to drink along with him. Han Xianyu was observing from the side with a frown. He headed over with a glass of wine. Gong Su, that's enough. I'll drink with you. Yi Bai can't drink that much. No, I want brother Yi to drink with me. As Gong Su said this, he rushed over to Yi Wanwan. Brother Yi, can I ask you some questions? What do you want to ask? Yi Wanwan swirled the wine in her glass as she glanced at Gong Su. Although Yi Wanwan hadn't drank too much and was drunk, however, under the dim lighting, her glittering eyes were alluring and made people want to cross the line. Gong Su didn't know why he reddened the more he observed her and was dumbfounded. Yi Wanwan, say something. Gong Su didn't return back to reality until Yi Wanwan's prompted him and he drunkenly asked, Brother Yi, do you have a lighter? Yi Wanwan didn't smoke so naturally, she didn't have a lighter. Thus, she replied, Nope. Gong Su then muttered, Nonsense. Then how did you light a fire in my heart? Yi Wanwan had black lines all over her head. Han Xianyu, Luo Chen, Brother Yi, I have a super ability, a really amazing, super ability. Do you know what it is? Gong Su asked again. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. What is it? Gong Su, super. I super duper like you. Yi Wanwan and everyone else, Gong Su continued staring at Yi Wanwan. Brother Yi, last one. It's really the last question. Do you know what I like to eat? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes. You like to eat everything. Gong Su, that's not true. I like to stare at you with infatuation. Yi Wanwan, this fella, must be stupid drunk. He's actually flirting with me like I'm a woman. The crowd was all watching Gong Su in his drunken stupor amusedly, laughing aloud together. In the corner, Fei Yang couldn't stop chuckling and said to Han Xianyu who was sitting beside him, This brat, Gong Su. If I didn't know better, I would have thought he was gay. Han Xianyu acted as though he didn't hear what his manager said and instead, he stood up and headed towards Gong Su and Yi Wanwan. Gong Su, that brat, was drinking while staggering about, his entire body pressing tightly against Yi Wanwan's body. Han Xianyu wordlessly used one hand and picked Gong Su up. Gong Su, why don't you have a drink with me? Brother Xianyu. Let's drink. Let's play. Gong Su then chugged his glass and soon after, he went back to Yi Wanwan's side. Han Xianyu once again stopped him with his arm, evidently afraid he would bump into Yi Wanwan. Afterwards, he sat in between them, separating the two. After drinking a few more glasses with Gong Su, Han Xianyu gently said to Yi Wanwan, Drink less. After all, you're a girl. At this moment, Fei Yang who had just been making fun of Gong Su was stunned. What's this situation? Why do I feel that Han Xianyu's so caring about Yi Bai? Even the tone he used to speak to Yi Bai was even warmer than the one he used with other people. Gong Su, who noticed that Han Xianyu had stolen his spot, was about to throw a tantrum but right at that moment, Yi Mufan returned from the bathroom. Chapter 1124 Yi Mufan had just returned from the restroom when he saw that Gong Su was asking for disaster again. He instantly picked Gong Su up and shoved him to the side. What are you doing? If you want to be crazy, go somewhere else. Don't stick to my Yi Bai. Han Xianyu breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Yi Mufan had returned. Gong Su, nonsense. Brother Yi is clearly mine. Yi Mufan, PFT, yours? How delusional you are. Gong Su thought about it before settling for second best. Then I'm Brother Ye's. Yi Mufan, could this guy be any more shameless? Seriously, as soon as Yi Mufan thought about how Wanwan was going to tell Gong Su the truth after the Golden Orchid Awards, he got riled up. Gong Su already acted like that when Wanwan was pretended to be a man. Who knew what he would do when he found out Wanwan was a woman? In the beginning, Yi Wanwan restrained herself from drinking too much. But when the atmosphere turned lively later on, she accidentally exceeded the limits of a tiny bit. However, it wasn't like qualifiers like a tiny bit, a bit, and suitable amount had a quantifiable definition, so she could interpret it however she wanted. Yi Mufan saw that Yi Wanwan was so happy on such a rare occasion, and she had all her friends there. Plus, he was there, so nothing could happen. So, he allowed Yi Wanwan to drink as much as she wished. Gong Su plastered himself to Yi Wanwan like superglue. Brother Yi, come, drink. Keep drinking. Yi Wanwan was already tipsy by now. She raised her brows with a hint of inebriation on her face and languidly said, Baby Su, I suggest you refrain from courting disaster. I heard, my behavior when I'm drunk isn't too good. When I drink too much, I like to hit people. Han Xianyu, cough. This. I can attest to her terrible drunk behavior. Gong Su was completely nonchalant. That's great. I like having you hit me. Fei Yang, the onlooker, Fei Yang seriously suspected Gong Su had turned gay. However, even if it was true, it was no wonder with Yi Bai's looks, tsk. Hold on. His Xianyu treated Yi Bai so gently and specially. Could he also be? A chilly feeling instantly surged through Fei Yang's body. He can't. He can't. I must give him a thorough reminder later. He can't err. At the same time, Si Yihan's troop of cars was already parked close to the bar. Si Yihan, Su Yi, and 11 were sitting in the car in the front while the hidden bodyguards all sat in the two cars at the back. A slender youth secretly left the car and ran to a supermarket. He came running back shortly after. Did you buy it? Did you buy it? Everyone asked with haste. I bought it. I bought it. I bought 3 cups. The owner said this sobering tea was especially effective, the slender youth hurriedly said. Ah, just the sobering tea alone won't do, alright? I heard that milk was also good. Did you buy some milk? That's right. There's also honey. I did a little searching just now. They say that tomatoes, grapes, and watermelons are also good. Why don't we buy a little of each too? Everyone talked at once and gave their suggestions. Sweat drenched their foreheads as though this was a matter of life or death. Suddenly, Feng Shuani interjected stutteringly, and not enough. These items just ease discomfort. They can only soothe hangover headaches and dizziness. They can't sober someone up. Everyone felt like heaven was crashing down on them. No. Is our only option waiting for death? Calm down, don't panic. We have 9th Master. 9th Master is here. 9th Master will handle it. We'll be fine. The slender youth tried to pacify everyone. Feng Shuani, and 9th Master, spoils Miss Wanwan tea too much. I think, the probability of him watching Miss Wanwan hitting us from the sidelines, is very high. Chapter 1125, 1125 Everyone, ouch, that stings, Captain. Captain. Can you please stop talking? Hey, can you give us some hope to live? Why do we feel like we were called here to be punching bags? In the private room of the bar, everyone had fun and relaxed that night. The end of filming banquet eventually came to an end. People bid their farewells one after the other. Yi Wanwan, Gong Su, Luo Chen, Han Xianyu, and Yi Mufan all waited on the side of the road for their car to pick them up. Gong Su was completely drunk. The more he drank, the more annoying he became. It took both Luo Chen and Han Xianyu to carry Gong Su. Brother Yi, let's PK. Let's fight. Brothers who haven't fought aren't true brothers. Didn't you say you like to fight whenever you drink too much? A certain wolf dog had no idea he was walking to his grave. Yi Wanwan leaned against Yi Mufan's shoulders. Her inebriated eyes brightened a few degrees. You want to fight with me? Right. Come on, come on. I'm super awesome now. Gong Su was extraordinarily proud. Gong Su was full of brute force after consuming alcohol, so he quickly shrugged off Luo Chen and Han Xianyu and sprang toward Yi Wanwan. Although Yi Wanwan couldn't walk straight due to her intoxication, she was unbelievably agile when Gong Su attacked. With a tiny shift, she dodged his attack. A blur dashed across Gong Su's eyes, and Gong Su discovered Yi Wanwan had disappeared. He instantly became flustered. Damn. Doesn't count. I drank too much, so my eyes are blurry. Gong Su continued to deliver punches to Yi Wanwan. However, it was like Yi Wanwan could predict his next moves and dodge them every time. Several dozens of moves later, Gong Su hadn't managed to touch even a corner of Yi Wanwan's clothes. Instead, he ended up exhausted and gasping for air. Yi Mufan was planning on pulling Gong Su away, but when he saw that Gong Su was at a complete disadvantage, he decided to watch the show from the sidelines. Wanwan had practiced martial arts before and was quite good at it, so she shouldn't have any problems dodging Gong Su's attacks. On the other hand, surprise flickered through Luo Chen's face. Yi Bai looked too refined normally, like an aristocratic young master who led a pampered life. Luo Chen hadn't known Yi Bai was this skilled at martial arts. Although Gong Su was drunk, his fighting skills were enough to handle normal people after his training. However, he couldn't even land a single hit on Yi Bai. Gong Su was unwilling to accept this. He turned braver with each failure. Ah! I refuse to accept it. I'll beat you up. After fighting Gong Su for a while, Yi Wanwan looked bored and impatient. When she saw Gong Su attacking again, she pursed her lips. This time, she didn't dodge and swung her fist instead. In the next second, there was a resounding bang. Yi Wanwan's fist brushed past Gong Su and smashed onto the giant Land Rover off-road vehicle behind Gong Su like a clap of thunder. Her fair and dainty hand forcefully created a large crater on the hood of the off-road vehicle. Immediately after, a puff of dark smoke rose from the hood. Even the engine was damaged. Gong Su, Luo Chen, Han Xianyu, Yi Mufan, what the hell is this? When Gong Su heard the loud sound, he reflexively turned around and looked. Gong Su stared at the smoking hood with its large dent in a daze and instantly sobered up. After being dumbstruck for 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, Gong Su screeched like a startled cat. He dashed behind Luo Chen and wrapped himself around Luo Chen. Mom! Help! Chapter 1126, 1126 At the same time, in a car nearby, Si Yihan, Su Yi, 11, Feng Shuani, and the hidden bodyguards of the Si family all watched as Yi Wanwan smashed a large dent on the car. All the hidden bodyguards, please protect me, Buddha. A dead silence enveloped the area. As Luo Chen stared at the large crater on the car, he was also dumbstruck and forgot to push Gong Su away. He hadn't drunk that much alcohol tonight, so he clearly saw the large crater on the car. It absolutely wasn't an illusion. Was this a feat that could be accomplished by a human? Han Xianyu's expression was identical to Luo Chen's. Han Xianyu only knew that Yi Bai liked to flirt with people regardless of their gender when he was drunk. He didn't know Yi Bai could be so violent. Yi Mufan looked at the large dent, then at his unsteady sister before madly rubbing his eyes. Gong Su didn't dare to approach Yi Wanwan at all and hid behind Luo Chen as best as he could. He begged, Brother Yi, I was wrong. Brother Yi, I don't want to be beaten. I don't like to be on the other end of your fists at all. Don't misunderstand, would he still be alive if Yi Bai's punch landed? Damn. What's going on? This, Yi Mufan finally reacted and shot toward Yi Wanwan like a bolt of lightning. Wan. Ah, Yi Bai. Are you okay? Han Xianyu also hurried over and quietly asked Yi Mufan, did she act like this after drinking before too? Yi Mufan was stupefied. If she drinks too much, she'll go on a rampage. But it's never been this crazy, this was utterly insane. Did he have a fake sister? When Yi Wanwan saw Yi Mufan leaning close to talk to her, she narrowed her eyes, which were full of yearning. What? You want to fight with me too? Pure survival instinct pervaded Yi Mufan, and he quickly waved his hand in negation. No. I don't want to. Yi Wanwan glanced at Yi Mufan and felt that his face was quite pleasing to the eye, so she leaned toward Luo Chen. Then, how about you? Due to Yi Wanwan's sudden approach, Luo Chen's eyes clashed into her unbelievably beautiful eyes and felt all the air leaving his lungs. He didn't dare to breathe too hard, let alone speak. Yi Wanwan stared at the youth's handsome and helpless face and pulled back. She pursed her lips as she said, forget it. You're good-looking, I won't hit you. Luo Chen, when Gong Su heard that, he nearly fainted from crying too hard. Brother Yi, I'm also very good-looking. Why were you so mean to me? My Land Rover, my little car. Ah, you hit the car, but it's my heart that hurts. Yi Wanwan ignored Gong Su and turned to the forgotten Fei Yang. She sized him up before deciding, you then. You aren't good-looking. Huh? Fei Yang was about to cry. You can't discriminate against me like this, alright? I'm just slightly worse looking. Wait, no, I'm also very handsome, alright? It's just not apparent because of their looks, Fei Yang finally realized. Yi Bai was especially fond of good looks when he was drunk. Everyone present, including Yi Mufan, was all very handsome. He was simply a bit more average, but that didn't mean she could discriminate against him because of that and hit him, right? Fei Yang wanted to say that his HP took a critical hit. Help, save me, Fei Yang's bladder was about to leak as he stared at the large hole on the car. Han Xianyu shot forward. Yi Bai. When Yi Wanwan saw Han Xianyu, her eyes instantly brightened. The man was as gentle as jade and had a soft temperament. He made the people around him feel like a spring breeze was brushing over them. Yi Wanwan, little big brother, do you want me to tell you your romantic fortune? My fortune telling is super accurate. Han Xianyu. Chapter 1127. When Han Xianyu heard that, he choked and had a coughing fit. Fortune telling again. Why can't she use a different method? When Han Xianyu met Yi Wanwan's sparkling eyes, he awkwardly said, ahem, no need for that, eh? Why not? Yi Wanwan asked persistently. Because, you've told my fortune already. Regret appeared on Yi Wanwan's face when she heard this. Really? Why don't I tell another fortune for you? Your life is missing. Yi Wanwan was about to continue when Han Xianyu hastily interrupted her after seeing something behind her that caused his pupils to contract. Cough, Yi Bai. You. Look behind you, Yi Wanwan looked behind her. Then she saw a person standing next to the black car parked behind her. The person's expression was colder than the night air. Yi Wanwan blinked. Then she blinked again. Her eyes were completely glued to the man's face. When she looked at that breathtaking face, the words she was originally going to say turned into, your life is missing, calcium, Han Xianyu, Si Yihan. Yi Wanwan stared at Si Yihan and was rooted in place. Beauty, you look very familiar. Have I seen you somewhere before? Han Xianyu, are these all the pickup lines she has? Also, every time she sees this man, she forgets everyone else, and he's the only one in her eyes. Si Yihan glanced at Han Xianyu from the corners of his eyes, displeasure still clear on his face. If he hadn't come over, would the one missing from her life be someone else? Yu Wanwan looked at the man in front of her and asked tirelessly, Beauty, beauty, do you have a wife? Si Yihan stared at a certain aggravating girl and icily said, I do. Yu Wanwan's face turned cold almost as soon as Si Yihan finished talking. In the next second, Yu Wanwan's eyes shot toward 11, who stood behind Si Yihan, as sharp as a blade. Is it him? 11 pointed at his nose with wide-open eyes. Huh? Yu Wanwan's eyes were chilly as she declared while enunciating each word clearly, you soon won't have a wife. 11 felt like the blood in his veins had turned to ice. What? It's not me. What's happening? Why did I get shot even though I'm a bystander? Yu Wanwan didn't listen to 11's explanation at all. With a flash of her body, she charged swiftly toward 11. Every attack of Yu Wanwan's was fierce and full of killing intent, as though her opponent had stolen her wife. 11 was howling as he evaded. No. It really isn't me. The other team leaders of the hidden guards were all flabbergasted by the scene before them. Damn. A fight started like that? What is this? How unreasonable is she? Ah. A kick landed on 11's leg, and his poor leg nearly snapped in half. Ninth Master. Help, why aren't you clearing my name? To 11's despair, his ninth master just looked on as Miss Wanwan called another man, Little Big Brother, and complimented him as being good-looking. Hence, ninth master was embroiled in the fires of hell and didn't hear his plea for help at all. Similarly, Miss Wanwan had turned her hell mode on after becoming drunk. 11 couldn't fend for himself any longer. If this continued, he would really lose his life. 11 was at an utter loss. When he saw that Yu Wanwan was being serious and sending fatal blows his way, he instantly pointed at the other hidden bodyguards behind him. It's not me. It's really not me. It's them. Chapter 1128, 1128 Them. They all are. So many people. The second Yu Wanwan heard 11, a murderous aura pervaded every inch of her already chilly face. One of the team leaders was spooked out of his mind and shouted, Shit! 11. Aren't you too evil? 11 saw that Yu Wanwan finally stopped attacking him and he bent over, out of breath as he leaned on his knees. He didn't care about his teammates' anguished accusations at all. He continued telling Yu Wanwan, really, it's them. I'm not lying to you. Brothers should suffer together, alright? Why should I be the only one getting beaten? Great. Then I'll do away with all of you. Yu Wanwan's voice sounded like it came from the pits of hell. In the next second, Yu Wanwan charged toward Feng Shuani and the other hidden guards, sending them scrambling over each other. As for their boss, Si Yihan, he acted as Feng Shuani predicted. He really watched uncaringly as they were beaten black and purple. The only thing written on Yu Wanwan's face was, kill one if there's one, kill a pair if there's a pair. Her possessiveness was terrifying. Also, were they imagining things? Why did it feel like Miss Wanwan's killing power increased by a lot? Nearby, Gong Su and his group were all flabbergasted. If that punch to the car just now was a surprise, the present state was a complete fright. Gong Su was stupefied as he muttered, Did brother Yi drink fake alcohol? Luo Chen, Yi Mufan's feeling that he had a fake sister intensified. Although he knew his sister was quite talented and a lot of coaches complimented her, he didn't expect her to be this terrifying. She fought solo against so many people that looked like skillfully trained bodyguards. A swish was heard in the air. Yu Wanwan did a round kick with the strength of 1,000 bulls, aiming for the slender youth who went to buy sobering tea earlier. The slender youth caught the hole in the Land Rover from his peripheral vision, and his face turned dark as mud. With that strength, if this kick landed, his head would explode. No. It's not. It's not me, the slender guard shouted in the nick of time. He pointed in a random direction. It's him. It's him. Yu Wanwan's icy eyes followed the direction of the slender guard's finger. Gong Su. Gong Su, who was suddenly being pointed at, was dumbfounded, and coldness enveloped him. Shit! If Gong Su knew Brother Yi would be so scary after drinking, he wouldn't have pressured Brother Yi to drink no matter what. Yi Wanwan's chilly gaze shot toward Gong Su again. Gong Su felt his hair standing on end from the stare. He was stunned for 3 seconds before he decisively hugged Luo Chen. No. It's not me. I have a wife already. He's my wife. Luo Chen thought the hug was incredibly distasteful and subconsciously wanted to push Gong Su away. Gong Su hugged Luo Chen like he was an oasis in the middle of the desert and refused to release him. If you dare to push me away, I'll say it's you. Luo Chen stopped moving. At the key moment, Gong Su's shamelessness saved his own life. Yi Wanwan continued to attack the other hidden bodyguards with increasingly frightening power. She didn't care whether they were the ones she was looking for. She would rather kill them wrongly than spare them. It's not me. It's really not me. That's right. It's not us. It's yourself, alright? You're having a couples fight, so why are you dragging us into it? This was truly the embodiment of the saying, when the city burns, it's the fish in the moat that suffer. Chapter 1129. Everyone was in danger. Gong Su's shameless move was like a ray of hope in the darkness. Light shone from the slender guard's eyes. He was still bent over and breathing heavily. He looked at 11 and asked, 11. Division Leader 11. Since there aren't any girls here, why don't we pair up? I'll reluctantly be gay if it's just for a while. When 11 heard that, his face was darker than the bottom of a pan. I'd rather be killed by Miss Wanwan. As expected, Gong Su's flirtatious and unscrupulous actions couldn't be replicated by just anyone. Si Yihan was originally approaching them with fury roaring in his chest, but when he saw Yi Wanwan explosively and murderously eliminating his harem, his destructive fury unwittingly mellowed. When Su Yi saw how Miss Wanwan was getting more vicious the more she beat the guards up while his master's expression eased and even looked a little happy as he watched the spectacle, he silently lit a candle for the guards. It was a rare occasion that Miss Wanwan was the jealous one and she was going on a violent rampage too. They shouldn't count on Master to rescue them. Su Yi was lighting candles for the other people when he suddenly saw a shadow charging toward him. Ah! Su Yi nearly fell on the ground but first. You're the legitimate wife? Yi Wanwan stared at Su Yi, her eyes glowing with murder. Su Yi was dumbfounded. No. It's not me. I have nothing to do with this. It's you. How could Yi Wanwan be willing to listen to him? Her eyes were fiery red and she angrily approached him with the intention of beating him up. Ah! Ninth Master, Su Yi was terror-stricken. The second before Yi Wanwan's fist landed on Su Yi, Si Yihan grabbed her wrist and stopped her attack. Su Yi glanced at the fist that was stopped a centimeter from his face and abruptly breathed a sigh of relief, on the verge of collapse. Yi Wanwan stared at Si Yihan intently, the one who saved Su Yi, and was about to explode on the spot. She ferociously asked, "Would your heart hurt if I hit him?" What the hell? Su Yi was about to bawl. He shook his head like a rattledrum. No. No. That's absolutely not it. What kind of logic is this? I'm going to kneel at her feet. Si Yihan looked at how Yi Wanwan was about to burst with rage, and the lingering fury in his heart was snuffed out. His broad hand covered her small hand, his pitch-black eyes reflecting her infuriated expression. His low and rough voice lightly drifted in the night. My heart aches for you. Does your hand hurt? Even the car ended up with a hole from her punch, but her hand remained fair and dainty without the slightest sign of broken skin. Yi Wanwan was almost instantly mesmerized by Si Yihan's beauty. Her expression was hesitant as she asked, You want to climb my wall? Yi Wanwan's voice was still androgynous but it was returning to the soft and pure voice of a girl. Thankfully, she wasn't talking loudly and Gong Su and the others were hiding as far away as they could, so they didn't hear her. Si Yihan's eyes were like the starry sea. I've been yours from the start. Yi Wanwan's eyes widened. Eh? Really? Since when? Why didn't I know this? Si Yihan's lips twitched imperceptibly. You'll know when you're sober. Yi Wanwan wasn't too happy. Why do I have to wait until I'm sober? I think I'm fine just like this. Su Yi and the hidden bodyguards, it's not fine at all. This beating happened for no reason at all. What was most tragic was that their master didn't ask whether the victims were okay. Instead, he asked the attacker if her hand hurt. This was so cruel. They were so moved though. Master finally came out to pacify her. This was the first time they ate dog food so willingly. This was life-saving dog food. Chapter 1130. Si Yihan patted Yi Wanwan's head. Let's go home. Yi Wanwan's eyes sparkled. You're home. Si Yihan's dark eyes turned darker, and he repressed the impulse to kiss her. Our home. Yi Wanwan didn't want anything else. She nestled into the car on her own. Some distance away, Yi Mufan finally regained his wits when he saw Yi Wanwan entering the black car. Damn! Bastard! Get back out here! How could you randomly enter someone's car? Yi Mufan quietly cursed and rushed forward. By the car door, Yi Wanwan tilted her head as she looked at him. Who are you? Yi Mufan was nearly angered to death. Shit! I'm your fucking brother. I don't know you. After Yi Wanwan said that, she turned around and entered the car. Cold gales of wind whistled through the air. Yi Mufan, damn girl. She actually said she didn't know me. She tossed her brother out of mind beyond the highest heavens just because she had a boyfriend now, didn't she? Si Yihan's eyes rested on Yi Mufan for a second before he reached out to protect the top of Yi Wanwan's head as she entered. Then he followed her into the car too. Soon, the black cars disappeared into the night. Only then did Gong Su and the others run out from their hiding places. Gong Su cautiously looked ahead of him. They left? Luo Chen instantly threw off Gong Su's arms. Yi Mufan angrily pulled Gong Su toward him. Bastard, what kind of drink did you give her? Gong Su was sullen and looked extremely innocent. Liquor, just liquor. La fight, and whiskey as well. I drank it, and you all drank it too. Yi Mufan angrily tossed Gong Su away. Gong Su was trembling. Ah, what a painful realization. No wonder Brother Yi never drinks. I won't force Brother Yi to drink ever again, wah. Next time. Yi Mufan angrily ordered, no one is allowed to let Yi Bai drink alcohol from now on. I'm adding this rule to our company's handbook. Fei Yang, who had hidden far away, nodded frantically and agreed, we can have that rule. We must have that rule. This was Yi Mufan's first time meeting Yi Wanwan's boyfriend. Thinking back on it, Yi Mufan was contemptuous when the little girl who always said her brother was the most handsome suddenly said to him that her boyfriend was 100 times more handsome than him. Now. Damn it, he had no choice but to admit, it was just as that damn girl said, her boyfriend was 100 times more handsome than him. No wonder. No wonder that damn girl suddenly didn't care about Gu Yueza anymore and didn't have any lingering feelings for that jerk. Wanwan previously said her boyfriend was an employee of the C Corporation, but from the looks of it, he brought bodyguards with him. Could he be some minor manager or director? He was so young, yet he had already advanced to a position with bodyguards assigned to him in the C Corporation. He hadn't advanced so far using his face, right? Fei Yang sneakily approached Han Xianyu and quietly said, Ah, Xianyu, there's something. I don't know if I should say it though, what is it? I think, you should stay far away from Yi Bai from now on. Fei Yang advised solemnly. He only acted like this because he drank too much, Han Xianyu said. Fei Yang hastily shook his head. And no, that's not what I mean. I just discovered. Yi Bai's sexual orientation is abnormal. He likes men, doesn't he? Even if he acted crazy because he drank too much, the fact that he hit on men when he was drunk. That couldn't be easily excused, right? When Han Xianyu heard that, he was speechless. Fei Yang understood Han Xianyu too well. As soon as he saw Han Xianyu's expression, he detected something was amiss. Fuck me. He seriously likes men. Xianyu, don't tell me you already knew this. Xianyu, you must stay strong. Don't turn gay. Chapter 1131. After the bout of utter chaos, the group finally escorted their future mistress home. Everyone was extremely cautious and stayed far away from Si Yihan, afraid of bringing disaster upon themselves. After Su Yi got out of the car and opened the car door for his master, he instantly retreated 3 meters away and didn't dare to even glance at his master. If their ninth master ate vinegar by the tank, then Miss Wanwan ate vinegar by the ocean. Also, she tossed the blame anywhere and everywhere, so you never knew when it would land on your head. Too terrifying. Yi Wanwan was walking with Si Yihan's help. She was halfway to the main door when she suddenly looked back. Si Yihan asked, "What is it?" Yi Wanwan intently stared at the hidden bodyguards behind them and said pensively, "I'm still worried. I should just beat them to death." Si Yihan, the hidden bodyguards. How could you do that? What did we do wrong? Yi Wanwan pondered over it a little longer before waving her hand. Forget it. I won't beat them. The hidden guards were joyous. That's great. Did Miss Wanwan's conscience return? Just as the hidden guards thought that, they heard Yi Wanwan say, "It'll waste time. Every minute of the wedding night is worth 1,000 gold, the hidden bodyguards, they were going to die either way. They would either die from a beating, or die from overeating dog food." With that, Yi Wanwan finally stopped wasting time on the people behind her and happily entered the house with Si Yihan. At this point in time, Yi Wanwan's wig was already ditched in the car and her jacket was pulled every which way. As soon as the door closed after them, she pressed Si Yihan against the wall and was about to pounce on him. However, she was stopped halfway there. He ordered, "No fooling around yet. Drink some sobering tea first. Otherwise, her head would feel like it went through a blender again when she woke up the next morning." She never learned from her mishaps. Before Si Yihan went to pick her up, he had people prepare some sobering tea, so it was currently sitting on the coffee table in the living room. Si Yihan walked over and touched the porcelain bowl. The temperature of the tea was perfect. "Drink it." Si Yihan handed the sobering tea to her. Yi Wanwan stared at the bowl in Si Yihan's hands in a daze. She was astonished. "You didn't take me home to sleep with me. You brought me here to drink tea." When Si Yihan saw her bitter expression as though she'd been cheated, his face darkened. "Liar. I won't drink it." Yi Wanwan expressed her desire that she would rather die than submit when she discovered she had been deceived. "Drink it. Otherwise, your head will hurt tomorrow morning." "I won't. I didn't come here to drink tea." "I knew it. You were lying to me. I should just go and beat them to death now." Yi Wanwan's hair was disheveled. She tossed her jacket away and prepared to go out to fight again. Si Yihan felt a headache dawning on him. He pulled her back and pressed her to sit down on the chair. He uttered between gritted teeth, "Drink first, then sleep." Yi Wanwan's head spun around. "Really?" "Yes." Then Si Yihan raised the soup spoon to her lips. Yi Wanwan finally calmed down and obediently started drinking it. She didn't know how the sobering tea was prepared, but it was both sweet and sour and tasted very good. After she drank a spoonful, her eyes squinted like a content cat. Si Yihan fed her spoonful by spoonful, and Yi Wanwan glanced at Si Yihan after every spoonful. Toward the end, Yi Wanwan appeared to have grown impatient and snatched the bowl from Si Yihan. Then she gulped it down. After finishing the tea, Yi Wanwan handed the empty bowl to Si Yihan. I finished. Done now. Can we sleep now?" Si Yihan. Chapter 1132. 1132. Si Yihan's eyes were like a cold pool of bottomless water as he looked at her and said, "Come here." Yi Wanwan pounced like a tiny cannon as soon as she heard him. Si Yihan's body leaned back a little from the impact, and two of the buttons on his dress shirt loosened. When Si Yihan met her glittering eyes, he gently looped a hand around her waist. His tone was uncommonly gentle. Let's talk. Yi Wanwan's brows furrowed. You said we'd sleep after I drank it. Yes, I said that, but let me ask you a question first. There was a bewitching quality to Si Yihan's voice. This trick was obviously very effective. Yi Wanwan obediently nodded. Okay, Si Yihan watched her face as he quietly asked, do you like me, or do you like my face? Your face, Yi Wanwan answered without hesitation. Si Yihan's eyes narrowed imperceptibly. A second later, he buttoned his shirt as though everything was normal. Sleep by yourself. The second Yi Wanwan heard Si Yihan's words, she felt like thunder clapped across a clear sky and was dumbstruck. Why? Si Yihan walked upstairs, even his back showed his anger. Yi Wanwan was stunned for a moment before chasing after Si Yihan. When she realized she couldn't catch up due to the speed of his long legs, she pushed off the stair railing and leaped forward, landing in front of Si Yihan and blocking his path. Yi Wanwan asked, why? Figure it out yourself. Si Yihan's face was frosty. Then he coldly entered the bathroom without another word. Bang! The door slammed on Yi Wanwan. Grievance bubbled up inside and she angrily jumped onto the bed and hugged the comforter. So what if I like that he's good looking? Why is he angry? Why did he shut me outside? Why did he abduct me home but won't sleep with me? Yi Wanwan was furiously scratching the comforter when she suddenly felt something soft squirming underneath her. Yi Wanwan bolted up from fright. A second later, a soft and fair child burrowed out of the comforter. The little fellow was sleepily rubbing his eyes. When he saw Yi Wanwan, he dazedly sat there and blinked from still being half asleep. When he saw who it was, all his sleepiness dissipated. Brilliant joy sparkled in his eyes, and he instantly crawled up and sprang into Yi Wanwan's arms. Mommy! Yi Wanwan was utterly dumbstruck when she saw the little child who burrowed out of the comforter without any warning, unexpectedly leaped into her arms and called her Mommy. Si Yihan was calming himself down inside the bathroom when he suddenly heard her miserable scream from outside. Ah! Si Yihan opened the door and shot out of the bathroom. What happened? Si Yihan had a fierce expression on his face. Then he saw that Yi Wanwan was staring at the child in her arms with a pale and panic-stricken expression. What is this thing? Si Yihan exhaled in relief while also rubbing his forehead with exasperation. A moment later, he answered, your son. Yi Wanwan was even more dumbfounded. She looked at the child then at Si Yihan. Who birthed him? Si Yihan's face turned a few shades darker. You. Si Yihan thought, how could it be me who birthed the child? Yi Wanwan shouted, impossible. How could we have a son before we've even slept together? Chapter 1133 Yi Wanwan said, that's illogical. Si Yihan's face turned darker. It was wondrous that she still knew that was illogical despite how drunk she was. You're lying to me again. I've never birthed a child. Yi Wanwan was firm in her disbelief. Baby Tang Tang, who had just woken up, felt like thunder was clapping across a clear sky. Mommy said she never birthed me. Tung Tung's face turned ghastly white and tearful. Mommy, you don't want Tang Tang anymore? The child was delicate and soft like a glutinous rice ball, and he was wearing fuzzy cartoon pajamas. His cheeks were tender and soft, eliciting an urge for Yi Wanwan to pinch and kiss them. Yi Wanwan inexplicably felt an urge in her hands and almost couldn't stop herself from hugging and kneading the child. Yi Wanwan had a stern and resolute expression as she stared at the tiny child and said, but I didn't birth you. Tang Tang jumped into Yi Wanwan's arms and looked up with an anguished expression. Mommy gave birth to Tang Tang. Tang Tang is Mommy's baby. Mommy said that, and so, the tiny dango clung to her arms like that, warmly and softly. Yi Wanwan said, I think Birthing a child without sleeping together is actually quite normal. Si Yihan, mommy, Yi Wanwan couldn't hold back any longer. She needed the tiny child in her arms, then sought verification from Si Yihan with sparkling, starry eyes. Ah. So cute, so cute, so cute. Did I really give birth to him? Am I really that awesome? Really? Really? Yi Wanwan and Tang Tang both looked at Si Yihan simultaneously with glittering eyes. Si Yihan answered, really. Yi Wanwan was instantly extremely excited. Ah. So happy. I really like him. When Tang Tang heard that mommy liked him, his cheeks finally flushed again. However, Tang Tang continued to look at mommy with concern and seriously said, Mommy, don't drink from now on, okay? After mommy drank alcohol, she didn't recognize me anymore. Yi Wanwan nodded without a thought. Sure, sure, sure. You're cute, so I'll go along with anything you say. Only then did Tang Tang relax. Yi Wanwan then focused all her attention on the tiny child and completely tossed the child's dad to the back of her mind. After messing around for some time, mother and child finally fell asleep. Si Yihan wiped Yi Wanwan's face with a wet cloth and changed her clothes for her. Then he laid on the other side of Tang Tang and sulked by himself. After laying for a while, he silently sighed and realized how childish he could be. Actually, I shouldn't be angry. I should be glad instead. Glad that she likes something about me, my face. Late at night, Si Yihan hadn't rested for too long when he felt something poking his shoulder. Si Yihan opened his eyes with a light frown. Then he met a pair of glittering, pitch-black eyes and was startled. Si Yihan rubbed his forehead with exasperation. Why aren't you sleeping? Yi Wanwan's eyes were full of excitement as she looked at the child in between them. Ajio, Ajio. I remember now. This thing, this tiny child. I really gave birth to him. Si Yihan sighed and tucked the sheets for her. Yes. You gave birth to him. Yi Wanwan's voice sounded nervous as she hesitantly asked, Ajio, are you angry? Si Yihan retorted, why would I be angry? I secretly birthed him. Aren't you angry? Si Yihan's expression was speechless. Is she extremely drunk or is she dreaming? When he heard her calling him Ajio, he thought she had gotten a little less intoxicated. Si Yihan went along with her. I'm not angry. Hurry and sleep. Yi Wanwan showed a relieved expression and finally felt at ease. She turned around and fell sound asleep. Chapter 1134. 11:34 The next morning, Yi Wanwan was woken up by a nightmare. Yi Wanwan fiercely sat up with cold sweat dripping everywhere. She had a super frightening nightmare. It was too frightening. Where's Si Yihan? Tang Tang also isn't here. Si Yihan and Tang Tang probably woke up already, so they were gone. Yi Wanwan rolled off the bed with a panicked expression and didn't have time to put on her slippers before charging downstairs. Because she ran too hastily, she misstepped on the final step and fell forward. When she was about to land on the hard floor, the expected pain didn't arrive. Instead, she landed in a pair of cold arms. Si Yihan's files scattered all over the floor from his hands, and there was rage all over his face. Walk properly. Why were you running? When he saw her bare feet, his face grew more displeased. Where are your slippers? Yi Wanwan's neck cowered from the scolding. She had a pitiful expression. I had a nightmare. When Su Yi, who was reporting business matters to Si Yihan, saw this, he quickly picked up a pair of slippers from the shoe rack to hand to them. After Su Yi placed them down, he immediately hid far away with a swish and tried his best to lower his presence. Sober and drunk Miss Wanwan are two completely different people. When she's inebriated, she can run across roofs and leap over walls. When she's sober, she can even trip down the stairs. After Si Yihan helped her up and helped her put on the slippers, his expression eased a few degrees. The things you see in your dreams are fake. Yi Wanwan pouted and looked at Si Yihan as though he was a heartless jerk. She was full of accusations as she said, "Don't lie to me." It was so real. "Really, really. I dreamed you married a wife, you married many, many wives, a whole harem of wives. I wanted to hit them, but your heart ached for them and you were mean to me. Seriously, horses can run on grass fields above my head." Ah, so infuriating. Si Yihan, Su Yi, who was hiding in the corner, "What? What did I just hear?" Si Yihan felt a raging headache as he pinched his brows. "What kind of nonsense do you think about all day?" Yi Wanwan plastered herself against Si Yihan's chest. "Is it really fake? Why did it feel so real then? I even dreamed they chased me around and beat me up. When I woke up, I felt like I was aching all over." Su Yi's eyes widened, grief and indignation leaking out of them. "Miss Wanwan, you can't be like that. How could you turn the truth inside out in your sleep? It was clearly you who chased everyone around and beat us up, okay? You're aching all over because you used too much strength when you were hitting us, alright." In his exasperation, Si Yihan had no choice but to pacify her. "It's fake." Yi Wanwan's expression had just eased up when she remembered something else. Her head drooped down again. Woo. What was most hurtful was that I also dreamed. I dreamed that Tang Tang didn't want me anymore. Sniff sniff sniff. Si Yihan rubbed his forehead, at a complete loss for words. This was her so-called nightmare. This was what Tang Tang heard the moment he entered with Great White behind him. The little fella dazedly stood there and finally reacted a moment later. He quickly pattered over to them. "Mommy." Tang Tang didn't not want mommy. Yi Wanwan perked up. "Really? But mommy dreamed Tang Tang didn't want me anymore. Tang Tang wouldn't abandon mommy and forget mommy, right?" Baby Tang Tang was very conflicted. It was clearly mommy who forgot about him when she was drunk. However, the little fella nodded with conviction. "Really? Mommy will always be Tang Tang's mommy. Tang Tang absolutely won't forget about mommy. Sorry, mommy, Tang Tang made mommy feel sad in her dream." Su Yi from his corner, "Alright, I finally understand what kind of spoiling created Miss Wanwan's unreasonable personality. Having grass grow on one's head means their partner is cheating on them." Chapter 1135. 1135. A life and death struggle. Officially finished shooting, which meant Yi Wanwan was about to drown in things to do. The busiest period, the promotion of the film, was waiting for them. For the next little while, she would have to take Luo Chen and Gong Su on assignments and fly to every city in order to properly promote their film. Thankfully, Jiang Yanran had Mt Tai, director Peng, supporting her, so Yi Wanwan didn't need to worry. Otherwise, Yi Wanwan wouldn't have enough hands to handle the workload no matter how many hands she grew. "I'm going to work." Yi Wanwan swiftly finished eating her breakfast and said goodbye to Tang Tang and Si Yihan. Tang Tang docilely sent mommy off before taking Great White out on a stroll. Inside the study, Si Yihan was darkly looking at the pile of information Su Yi had just handed to him. The person behind Si Mingli was hidden deeper than he expected. After a moment of hesitation, Su Yi probed, "Ninth Master, could it possibly be from eldest young master's side?" Si Yihan answered, "It isn't him." Judging from Si Yihan's tone, it appeared he never suspected eldest young master and Si Xia. Su Yi actually never understood this. Theoretically, Si Bai, Si Yihan's eldest half-brother from the same father but different mother, should be the biggest suspect, and there were a lot of covert abnormal actions from that side. Although Si Bai always looked timid and useless, his son, Si Xia, was quite capable. However, Si Yihan had never suspected Si Xia and always took good care of him instead. Si Xia originally treated his ninth uncle, Si Yihan, with great animosity and frequently stirred up trouble. However, in the past 6 months, Si Xia had been a lot more complacent and rarely showed up in front of Si Yihan for some unknown reason. Maybe it was because the sobering soup Yi Wanwan drank last night was effective, but Yi Wanwan was quite alert when she woke up. She didn't have a headache and wasn't nauseous. After she changed, she immediately headed to the company for a meeting. She needed to confirm the following promotion schedule with everyone as soon as possible. She ran into some traffic on the way to the company, so she arrived a little late. Almost everyone else was gathered inside the conference room already. As Yi Wanwan looked at the time on her phone, she hastily opened the door and entered the room. "I'm sorry, I'm late." The second Yi Wanwan entered, a bang was heard and Gong Su fell off his chair near the door. Gong Su looked at her, scared stiff. Then, as though he saw a ghost, he grabbed the leg of the chair and used it to block himself from Yi Wanwan's sight. Gong Su wasn't the only one. When Fei Yang, Luo Chen, and the other people saw her, they all seemed to scoot back a little. Even Yi Mufan, who was standing on the podium, retreated to the window with a frightened expression. Yi Wanwan was dumbfounded. "What's everyone doing? Did you see a ghost?" "Everyone inside the conference room, we'd rather see a ghost." Yi Wanwan walked toward Gong Su and reached out, intending to help Gong Su up. "Why did you fall down all of a sudden?" Don't come over here," Gong Su mournfully yelled before Yi Wanwan could touch him. Yi Wanwan was speechless as she looked at how Gong Su was acting like a timid, bullied wife. "What's up with you?" Gong Su scrambled behind Luo Chen's chair and cautiously peeked out. "Brother Yi, are you sober?" Yi Wanwan's brows furrowed. "I'm sober. I slept through the night, so of course I'm sober." Gong Su asked, "Are you sure?" Everyone had lingering fears as they looked at her. Yi Wanwan was perplexed. "All of you, what's going on?" Gong Su didn't dare to say anything. Everyone else looked at each other with conflicted expressions. Yi Wanwan had no choice but to look at Luo Chen. "Luo Chen, come over here. Explain." Chapter 1136. Gong Su was joyful. Go quickly. Brother Yi is calling on you." This was the first time Gong Su was jumping for joy about Brother Yi calling on Luo Chen instead of himself. Luo Chen hesitated for a moment before he stood up. "Brother Yi." "It's really nothing." Yi Wanwan raised her eyebrows. "If it's nothing, why are you all looking at me like you've seen a ghost?" Gong Su quietly muttered, No. "Brother Yi, you aren't a ghost. You're Zhong Kuei, you can even catch ghosts." Yi Wanwan was rendered speechless. Luo Chen faltered, not daring to say anything. In the end, it was Han Xianyu who spoke. "Yi Bai, don't you remember anything from last night?" Yi Wanwan scratched her head. "What about last night?" "I don't really remember it. My memory blacks out after I drink," Han Xianyu said with an exasperated expression. "Ahem, after you drink, you're a little what?" Han Xianyu pondered over his wording. "A little impulsive." It was Gong Su who couldn't bear it anymore and shouted, "Shit! How is that impulsive? That's just utterly violent, bloody, and cruel. Brother Yi, do you know what you did to me last night?" Yi Wanwan pulled a chair back and sat down. She propped her chin up with her hand. "What could I possibly have done to you? I haven't reached the point of being starving and unselective yet, right?" Gong Su was triggered instantly. "Brother Yi, you're too awful. What about me? I'm so handsome. How am I unselective? How? You clearly said I was good-looking last night, why did you do a complete 180 now?" Yi Wanwan felt a headache coming on and sighed. "Can I get someone who can talk normally instead?" Fei Yang's timid voice came from the corner. "Director Yi, after you became drunk last night, you came downstairs with us. Gong Su also drank a bit much and insisted on comparing notes with you, and then I hit Gong Su." "Well, you didn't hit Gong Su, but you did punch a giant hole into Gong Su's off-road vehicle," Yi Wanwan blinked. Then she asked in disbelief, "I made a hole in an off-road vehicle? With my fist? Brother Yang, are you kidding me?" Fei Yang replied, "It's true." Yi Wanwan turned to Han Xianyu, and Han Xianyu lightly coughed before also nodding. "You made the hole. If you don't believe it, look at the photos yourself." I towed my car to the shop to repair it this morning. The clerk asked me the cause of the damage. I said someone punched it, and they asked me if I was dreaming. Gong-soo quickly pulled up a photo on his phone to show Yi Wan-wan. There was indeed a fist-sized hole on the car's hood. Yi Wan-wan said, I also think you're dreaming. Yi Mufan muttered, you punched it. Everyone here witnessed it with our own eyes last night. Why didn't I know you could get so strong when you're drunk? Also, that what's-his-face of yours, Audiobook, also came last night and brought several bodyguards. You went into a drunken craze and beat up those bodyguards too. Then you left with that wild man. When I went over to pull you back, you actually asked me who I was. Damn it, Yi Mufan's point of focus was definitely his last sentence. When Yi Wan-wan finished listening to everyone's accusations, she adopted the tone of a science show host and explained, I think this must be a collective illness on your part and you had delusions. Not only did I wreck a car barehanded but also had a group fight. Impossible. I never fight, okay? Gong-soo interjected, Brother Yi, I think you might have a little misunderstanding about yourself despite how long you've been alive. Zhong Kuei is a mythological figure who's supposed to drive away evil spirits. Chapter 1137. Yi Wan-wan looked at the convicted expressions of everyone in the conference room and grew hesitant. I really punched a car barehanded. Everyone nodded in unison. I also had a group brawl with my friend's bodyguards. Gong-soo fiercely shook his head. No. You didn't. Yi Wan-wan sighed in relief. I knew it was impossible. Gong-soo then said, you didn't have a group brawl because you one-sidedly wrecked them. Yi Wan-wan, finally, under everyone's identical accounts of what happened, Yi Wan-wan had no choice but to believe it was true. Yi Mufan solemnly said, hence, the first business of our meeting today is to prohibit Yi Bai from drinking alcohol into the employee handbook. Yi Wan-wan helplessly mumbled. Must you be that dramatic? After Yi Mufan said that, he subconsciously glanced at Yi Wan-wan's hand. Is your hand really fine? Yi Wan-wan raised both of her hands in show. They're fine. They're perfectly fine. Gong-soo's eyes were glowing as he stared at Yi Wan-wan's hands. He touched them with excitement. Brother Yi, you're too awesome. Do you know internal exercises? I should have learned from you instead. Why did I have to go to some special training camp? Yi Wan-wan rolled her eyes at him. Shoo. You can only learn to fight from me, what use is that? Learning to fight is good too. Yi Mufan slapped away Gong-soo's inappropriate hands and leaned closer to thoroughly examine Yi Wan-wan's hands. When he ascertained that they were really fine after half a day, he finally relaxed but was still immensely suspicious. Yi Mufan recalled the things he learned before and said, fighting and martial arts are separated into external and internal exercises. The fact that you were able to damage that car to this extent without a hint of damage to your body means you must have used your inner strength. Inner strength relies on breathing exercises and is an arduous journey that can't be accomplished in a day. Aren't you a bit over the top? In order to make Wan-wan learn some self-defense, father hired renowned coaches and masters. However, she lacked perseverance and continuity, so how could she have trained to this extent? Yi Wan-wan muttered, although it might seem like it defies the natural order, it's not that rare to have a combination of talent and strength, alright? I've worked hard in my training during this past half year, alright? Anyway, I'm nothing and far from the best. True experts don't rely on some external strength or internal strength. They use integrative strength. Men were typically interested in these kinds of things. When Gong-soo heard that, he immediately inquired curiously, Brother Yi, what's integrative strength? Yi Wan-wan thought about it. Basically speaking, it's the highest level of internal strength. True experts can utilize their bodies and strength together with perfection. This was actually from an earlier conversation between her and Mr. Mu. As Yi Wan-wan explained, she couldn't help but recall the Independent State. That legendary place where experts ran rampant. Unfortunately, she would probably never have the chance to visit that place in her life. The group went on a tangent for a while before returning to business. They decided on the upcoming promotion schedule. After the meeting ended, Yi Wanwan took Gong Su and Luo Chen, as well as Yao Jiawen, on their assignments without any time to waste. Their upcoming schedule was packed tightly. They had 3 assignments in total today. The first assignment was a show on Imperial City Satellite TV. Luo Chen and Gong Su were both participating as guests. Chapter 1138. 1138. The group quickly arrived at the show's shooting location. The backstage was bustling with people. Busy staff members dashed everywhere. At that moment, a group of people arrived at the entrance with pomp and circumstance. The newcomer was Ling Xiaozhe. There were 2 bodyguards, 3 assistants, 1 makeup artist, and 1 stylist behind him. Emperor Sky Entertainment's Ling Xiaozhe was the guest on the show this time. Ling Xiaozhe's new movie came out recently. It was a big production with a major cast from Emperor Sky Entertainment. Supposedly, public opinion and box office success of the premiere was decent, and Ling Xiaozhe's performance in the film was remarkable. His popularity was also quite high among young actors. Plus, he had the Grand Tree, Emperor Sky Entertainment, standing behind him, so his previous dark history from slandering Gong Su was nearly made pure again. In addition to that, many fans thought that the good-for-nothing Gong Su, who was like a malignant tumor in the entertainment industry, deserved it. When enemies inevitably clashed, the expressions of each party could be imagined. Ling Xiaozhe could be considered to have turned over a new leaf with the help of this film, so he was currently riding on his success. He took the initiative to greet Gong Su. "Young Master Gong, long time no see." Yi Wanwan was personally accompanying them today, so Gong Su was in quite a good mood and didn't bother paying Ling Xiaozhe any heed. Ling Xiaozhe naturally wouldn't spare this opportunity to put Gong Su down, so he continued, "I heard your new film is about to premiere too. You even participated in the Golden Orchid Awards. I truly anticipate the results of the Golden Orchid ceremony." As soon as Ling Xiaozhe finished speaking, another celebrity quickly snickered, "Yes, I do quite look forward to it. I heard Gong Su made a dauntless promise that he would live-stream himself eating shit if he doesn't get Golden Orchid Awards Best Actor. PFT, does he think his family is the organizer of the Golden Orchid Awards and he can get Best Actor merely by wishing it? Golden Orchid Awards is the most prestigious film award in the country." Gong Su was irritated by the chatter buzzing around his ears, so he snorted and looked at Ling Xiaozhe. "PFT, you merely got 30 million at the premiere's box office, yet you dare to stroll around like a peacock in front of this young master? When this young master breaks into the billions, you won't have climbed onto your sugar mama's bed yet." Gong Su's mouth was quite malicious. Ling Xiaozhe's expression shifted. "Gong Su. Stop slandering people." Gong Su raised his brows. "What about me? What part was I wrong about? What's there for you to be boastful about? Your shitty acting skills are simply conning people of their money. When people finish watching your work, they'll nearly tear the theater apart. How can you be so shameless to gloat about it?" One of Ling Xiaozhe's assistants quietly muttered. Gong Su was about to explode when he heard that. Yi Wanwan saw the director coming from her periphery, so she pressed down on Gong Su's shoulders, telling him that was enough. Gong Su pursed his lips and repressed his anger. "Hello, Director Ho." Yi Wanwan led Luo Chen and Gong Su to the show's chief director and greeted him. A slightly chubby, middle-aged man greeted them with a grin. "Ah, Director Yi is here. We're about to start. Hurry and get your makeup done." "Great. May I ask where the makeup room is?" Yi Wanwan asked. A glint flashed through Ho Chongliang's eyes. Then he apologetically said, "Ah, Director Yi, truly sorry. There are too many people today, so the solo makeup rooms are all filled. I have to wrong you by having you go outside to do your makeup." Truly sorry. When Yi Wanwan heard that, her face turned a few degrees colder. "Go to the makeup room outside?" Based on Ho Chongliang's position and status, he shouldn't be saying anything so unprofessional. Luo Chen and Gong Su were A-listers, to say the least. The standard for A-listers was their own private makeup room whenever they attended a show. How could he let them go outside to have their makeup done with the extras? Unless... Chapter 1139. Shortly after, Ho Chongliang looked at Ling Xiaozhe. When he faced Ling Xiaozhe, his attitude made a 180 degrees turn and he fawned all over Ling Xiaozhe. "Ah, Xiaozhe, why are you over here? There are too many people here, it's too chaotic. Let me take you to your makeup room. Miss Yi personally ordered me to take good care of you because you're too tired from running around everywhere to promote this film. Quick, quick. Please come with me. The air quality here is too awful." Yi Wanwan narrowed her eyes slightly. It didn't take much thinking for her to realize that Ho Chongliang's attitude toward them was due to Yi Yi's special care. Even though Luo Chen and Gong Su were A-listers, they didn't have a large company backing them up, and Emperor Sky and Worldwide Entertainment were both suppressing them. They had been busy shooting lately and hadn't appeared in the public eye for several months, so they were partially on the back burner. No wonder Ho Chongliang was bold enough to underhandedly make trouble for them like this. Upon seeing this, Ling Xiaozhe revealed a gloating expression and glanced at Gong Su and Luo Chen provokingly. Then he walked toward the makeup room meticulously prepared by the crew like he was the moon surrounded by a myriad of stars. As soon as Ling Xiaozhe left, Gong Su erupted. "Fuck! He actually dares to push this young master around? I'm going to talk to that Ho guy." Yi Wanwan's eyes turned a little colder, and she grabbed Gong Su's arm to stop him. "Enough. Calm down." Yao Jiawen also advised, "After all, we're asking them for a favor. How about we just put up with it?" It took a lot of negotiations to get this assignment. Gong Su grew angrier when he heard this. Put up with it? Those words don't exist in this young master's dictionary. Are you really going to make me squeeze into the same makeup room as those people outside? Yi Wanwan naturally couldn't do that. If Gong Su and Luo Chen really had their makeup done in the public dressing room, who knew what kind of rumors would buzz around later? Yi Wanwan said without any hesitation, "Of course you can't." "Then what should we do now, Brother Yi?" Luo Chen asked worriedly. Gong Su quietly cursed, "Damn it." Gong Su was infuriated beyond words by now. A bunch of dogs who relied on their master's power to bully them. Did they really think he would be in dire straits just because his dad stopped caring about him? His mother left him with 20% shares before she passed away. It was just that he had to be married before he could use it. No matter how his stepmother wanted to isolate and push him down, his dad didn't truly dare to disown him. Damn it. If you press too hard, this young master will get married tomorrow. Gong Su said angrily. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. Married? What kind of reference is that? I own a 20% share in the Gong family's company. It's just that I can't use it unless I'm married. I have no idea what my mom was thinking when she stipulated that I had to be married before I could use it. As Gong Su said that, he showed an incredibly grievous expression. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. Why are you making it sound like getting married is equal to killing you? Gong Su instantly replied, Isn't getting married exactly the same as entering my grave? Unless I'm entering it with my little candied plum. Then I'm willing to enter even hell. Yi Wanwan, extinguish your dreams already. Anyway. I won't get my makeup done outside even if you kill me. I can't. I'm still so angry. I must drag that ho dude out here. It was them who fucking begged me to be a guest on their show, but they have the guts to show me up now. Gong Su was about to explode again. Yao Jiawen's pacification was useless and intensified his anger instead. Yi Wanwan glared at him and said. Enough, enough. I won't let you get your makeup done outside. Both you and Luo Chen don't need to go and get your makeup done. You're fine as you are. You're already very handsome right now and can go on the show like this. As soon as Gong Su heard that, his rampaging fury was snuffed out without a lick of flame remaining and transformed into fireworks that went off above his head. Really? Really? I'm already really handsome right now. Gong Su automatically omitted Luo Chen from Yi Wanwan's words. Chapter 1140, 1140 Yi Wanwan sweet-talked him. Yes, yes, yes. Handsome already. Let's go wait in the lounge. Gong Su, who had just exploded and wanted to fight with someone, instantly turned cheerful and docilely followed Yi Wanwan to the lounge. Yao Jiawen watched with surprise on the side. Was Gong Su easy to pacify or hard to pacify? She was fruitless after half a day of persuasion, but a single sentence from Yi Bai got Gong Su to comply. The crew shot Ling Xiaoxia's portion first, so Gong Su and Luo Chen had to wait a whole 2 hours before it was their turn. But then, they finished shooting in barely 10 minutes when it was their turn. Yao Jiawen repressed her fury and said to Director Ho. Director Ho, we're done recording already. Isn't there something wrong? Director Ho was currently busy ingratiating himself with Ling Xiaoxia. Upon hearing this, he impatiently turned around to look at Yao Jiawen. Wrong? What's wrong? Too much of the original script got deleted. This isn't what we initially agreed on. And the blocking isn't right either. Gong Su and Luo Chen's positions are too far back when they come out, the plans can't keep up with our changes. This is pretty typical. As for the blocking, it's naturally according to their ranking and popularity, so I placed Xiaoxia in front. I'm sure no one has any objections about that, right? What's the problem then? Yao Jiawen wanted to contest further but was pulled back by Yi Wanwan. Let's go. We need to get to the next assignment. There was no point in wasting time here. They were only finished recording the show because of their principle of respectfully completing the job as per the contract. Yao Jiawen's mood was still low. After these 10 minutes of camera time is edited, it'd be decent if we even ended up with 5 minutes. That's too little. A cold smile turned up on Yi Wanwan's lips. 5 minutes? That'd be overestimating Yi Yi's kindness. Yi Wanwan had already predicted these hurdles. Their time was very valuable right now, so they didn't have time to waste on arguing about these minor matters. The more assignments they could take, the better. These assignments would help the box office as best as they could, but they weren't the most important thing. Her goal this time had never been the box office. Otherwise, she could have done what Emperor Sky did in her previous life and directly revamped the script. Her goal was the Golden Orchid Awards. Time passed by in the blink of an eye, and it was soon the premiere date of a life and death struggle. A thing to celebrate was that all the people who saw this film gave it a positive rating on the internet. Gong Su's performance in the film was undoubtedly the most shocking factor for fans. OMG. What did I see? Is this still my baby Su? He was so handsome that I couldn't even recognize him as his mom fan. I originally went to watch it to see Luo Chen and Gong Su being gay for each other, but I surprisingly started crying while watching it. It's too moving. Gong Su's acting skills are off the charts this time. Did he take the wrong medicine? Luo Chen was too excellent. He's improved a lot. Gong Su. I also wonder whether he suffered some kind of a shock. His acting skills are illogical. Gong Su sighed as he looked at the 0-star ratings on the internet. Tisk, when I didn't care and carelessly acted back then, they all scrambled to spend their money on watching my stuff. Now that I'm seriously acting with all I've got, not a lot of people are going to see it. Ah, this must be the nature of the entertainment industry. Yi Wanwan glanced at Gong Su from the corners of her eyes. It was a rare occasion that this guy expressed so much depth. While she was thinking this, she suddenly saw Gong Su slapping his phone. What the heck do they mean by, take the wrong medicine? What the heck does illogical mean? Who said I can't have acting skills? Why can't they hope for the best for me? They must be looking forward to me eating shit instead. Are they really true fans? Chapter 1141, 1141 Lately, big productions had been showing in theaters. The films from Worldwide Entertainment and Emperor Sky Entertainment alone dominated 70 to 80% of the market, and there was a hustle of promotional activities, not to mention how they were intentionally suppressing Age of the Immortals. Although all viewers gave the film positive ratings and reviews, everyone felt their hearts chilling when the results of the film's box office debut came out. The box office only got to the several hundred thousands without touching the tip of Ling Xiaozhi's film. Moreover, it was Gong Su and Luo Chen's loyal fans who contributed to the several hundred thousands. If this pattern continued, they would lose their life savings. Due to their mediocre box office performance, the company was in low spirits. Luo Chen said, "Date with a Superstar is broadcasting today, maybe it will help the box office a little. For celebrities in the entertainment industry, fans were the most valuable but were also the easiest to lose." In order to shoot a life and death struggle, Luo Chen and Gong Su hadn't made public appearances for several months. Fresh meat also came out like chives, one after another, so fans were disappearing at a high rate. And now, the promotional period for the film was encountering obstruction after obstruction, and the box office results were quite worrisome. At the moment, Yao Jiawen hastily entered with her phone in hand. She angrily shouted, "This is too much." "What is it?" Yi Wanwan asked with a frown. Yao Jiawen held up her phone and said, "I was watching Date with a Superstar just now and discovered that all of Luo Chen and Gong Su's screen time in Date with a Superstar was cut out. There wasn't even a single second left. They waited for 2+ hours and shot for 10 minutes. They originally thought they would get at least 5 minutes but ended up being completely cut out." When Luo Chen heard Yao Jiawen's words, his face darkened. He originally hoped this popular show could promote their film, but it was a no-go. Similar things had been happening frequently lately. They managed to obtain some good assignments with great difficulty, but their screen time on them was all squeezed into nothing. There was obviously someone purposefully suppressing them behind the scenes. The smell of wine was still afraid of the depth of the alley. No matter how high quality the film was, it would be useless if nobody went to watch it. Moreover, their film topic didn't have an edge against the pile of teen dramas and metropolitan romance films to begin with. Yao Jiawen had a suggestion. "How about, we have Luo Chen and Gong Su interact more on Weibo and attract some popularity?" Yi Wanwan shook her head and rejected Yao Jiawen's suggestion. These interactions were fine if they were natural and suitable, but if they were too frequent and intentional, they wouldn't escape malicious suspicions of playing gay. Instead, they would negatively impact their popularity with netizens unfamiliar with them. Moreover, this didn't solve the problem at its roots. I already told you about the current situation back at our first meeting, so you should have mentally prepared for it. My current plan is to stop our future promotions. Worldwide and Emperor Sky are clearly making life difficult for us, so any further investments will be no use. Why don't we use that money to do other things instead? Other things? Yao Jiawen didn't understand. Yi Wanwan handed a stack of documents to her. "That's right. We won't do promotions anymore. The remaining budget will all be used for charity." Han Xianyu nodded and said, "That's a good idea." Yi Wanwan said, "Brother Yang has more experience with this, so I'll have to trouble Brother Yang to help me out." Fei Yang quickly said, "Not a problem." Yi Wanwan's gaze swept over everyone. For this segment, there's only one thing that everyone needs to do, be steady. Then Yi Wanwan purposefully looked at Gong Su. "Gong Su especially, don't go crazy. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.